on the whole of last season. Started off with a win, first Premier League game this season. The crowd are expectant, they're excited, they're not thinking their team are necessarily going to win this game, but they're going to give it a right good go, and the crowd will be right behind them to make it as difficult as possible.
Pre-match formalities taking place inside the centre circle. The two captains shaking hands, Josh Cullen and Virgil van Dijk, the referees. The referee and the assistants in yellow, and the two huddles taking place to the left and the right. So kick-off not too far away. Let's get full time in the WSL at Villa Park. Villa-Chelsea, Nikesh Regani.
Where it's finished, Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 3. A difficult day for Villa, who played well for most of the game, but Sam Kerr returning after a long injury layoff, coming on as a substitute, scoring the third for Chelsea to secure all 3 points in stoppage time. 2 wins for 2 from them. It's Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 3 at full time.
And from Villa Park to Hayes Lane, full time between London City and Manchester United. Emily Herbert.
And it's a bitter pill to swallow for London City. It finishes London City 1, Manchester United 5. Maya Letitia set United on their way inside 5 minutes. And then from there, the result never really looked in doubt. Nikita Paris did get on the score sheet against her former club, but this could prove a trickier survival project than Michelle Kang first imagined. Full-time, London City 1, Manchester United 5.
Emily, thank you. Turf Moor is vibrant as Michael Oliver blows his whistle, and we are underway. The first of 2 Premier League commentaries on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The Manchester derby to follow at 4:30. For now, it is Burnley against Liverpool, with Liverpool in possession. Their away strip this afternoon, all in green with a little bit of white trim. Burnley in their claret and blue home shirts, white shorts and the blue socks, kicking from left to right as we watch. Liverpool moving forward slowly. I'll run you through the 2 11s when we have the first opportunity to do so. But in the opening 30-40 seconds, we are seeing the pattern that we expect to see throughout the game, and that is Liverpool with possession. Van Dijk swings an early diagonal in the direction of Salah, who gets his first touch of the ball. The long-haired Szoboszlai continuing at right back into the centre circle. Van Dijk to Kirkes. Liverpool slowly moving it forward towards the edge of the Burnley penalty area. Gakpo gets his first feel of the ball. And Leon, this is not a surprise in the opening minute. Liverpool with all of the ball and Burnley with everyone behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Liverpool only giving Burnley a touch at the moment, just knocking it from side to side, just trying to give everybody an early first touch of the ball. As I say, not really trying to thread any passes at the moment, happy just to keep possession.
Gakpo and McAllister combine, albeit the ball from McAllister not hit with the required accuracy, and it drops out of play for a Burnley goal kick. That big derby on the south coast has come to an end in the Championship. Southampton-Portsmouth, Sahel Sahi.
And Chris, their first skirmish in 13 years has ended goalless. Southampton 0, Portsmouth 0. Portsmouth better in the first half, Southampton edging it in the second. Best moment for either side, Andre Dizal clipping the crossbar for Portsmouth. Point shared, full time, Southampton 0, Portsmouth 0.
Thank you, Sahel. Dubravka's long goal kick forward. Kanate meets it with a powerful header, and this will drop out of play for a Liverpool throw in their right back position, which gives us a chance to head to one of the quarter-finals of the Women's Rugby Union World Cup down at Sandy Park, France Island. Adam Whitty.
And a big shot could be on the cards as Ireland, seeking their first ever World Cup semi-final in both men's and women's rugby, lead France 13-0. 2 tries, Linda Dugang and Stacey Flood, a Dana O'Brien penalty just reward for their dominance, and Les Bleus just held out 30 phases of lung-busting Irish attack to stop it being even worse. This would be a huge story. Ireland lead France 13-0 in the quarter-final.
OK, Adam, thank you. We'll keep an eye on that. Sports Extra 2 via the BBC Sounds app if you'd like full commentary. Liverpool have monopolised possession as we tick towards the 3rd minute at Turf Moor. They have moved the ball smoothly and methodically without really testing the Burnley back line. McAllister gets a little touch on the edge of the penalty area, near side the left as Liverpool go from right to left. McAllister with the long sleeve shirt, Gakpo with the short, couple of yards in from the touchline left-hand side, and McAllister again assessing his options. Kirkes with a little touch, the white-booted McAllister. Burnley working really hard to ensure the danger players don't get hold of the ball, and now they might counter-attack. Jayden Anthony, for the first time in the game, stretching his legs. Ball forward to Lyle Foster was the right idea, Leon Osman, but not hit well enough.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the style of game I'm sure we'll continue to see. Burnley defended really deep. There's many men behind the ball, probably only 25 yards out from their own goal. That's how deep they're able to, or wanting to drop, just to frustrate this Liverpool team. But the moment they win the ball back, Anthony and Foster in particular, bursting through the middle, just a poor ball in the end.
Gakpo, that's a good ball to the back post, looking for Salah, headed away by Quincy Hartman, the Dutch left back for Burnley. McAllister has it, dead centre of the Burnley half. Ekitike and Gravenberch combine. Now the ball to Salah, far side the right, infield to Wirtz. He loves picking up those positions on the edge of the penalty area. Konate, Kerkez and Gakpo, 3 passes from right to left. Gakpo, space to shoot, right-footed, and the jeers will tell you that's a long way over the bar and out for a Burnley goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, just enough pressure from Kyle Walker to thwart, or not to make it an easy effort for Cody Gakpo, as he just cut inside off this left-hand side down in front of us, just inside the penalty. He just tried to bend it into that far corner, but just got past it. But just a slight tweak to what I expected this Burnley team to start with. I thought Laurent would be like a holding midfielder, bottom just below Ugachukwu and Cullen, but he hasn't. He's gone in as a back 3 for Burnley, back 5 when they're actually defending. Walker and Hartman as actual wing-backs, just allowing them to get closer to Gakpo and Salah when Liverpool are in possession.
They did utilise the back 5 in their opening Premier League game, did Burnley against Spurs. Not that it necessarily worked out, losing 3-0 down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Dubravka is the Burnley goalkeeper. Walker, Ekdal, Stev, Hartman make up the back 4. But you're right, with Josh Laurent just slipping into that centre-back position. So it is a back 5. Cullen, Ugachukwu, and then Chowner in for his full debut for Burnley, Anthony and Foster. Burnley moving it out from the back nicely, and now the long ball forward hit by Ekdal in the direction of Foster. Konate wins his header. Ekitike challenging in the centre of the Burnley midfield with the flash of blonde hair, Liverpool's number 22. His ball intercepted by Hartman, and Ekitike will retrieve on halfway. Liverpool with Alisson in goal, they're unchanged from that 1-0 win over Arsenal before the international break. Szoboszlai continuing at right back, Van Dijk, Konate, Kerkez, McAllister, Gravenberch, Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo and Ekitike, as Salah can't get on the end of a ball through and Dubravka will pick it up. 6 minutes in, Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. The rain has relented for now, but it is expected to increase in intensity as we move through the afternoon. And always a thrill coming to Turf Moor, with the view you get over the Burnley metropolis beyond, the Pennines in the distance and the rooftops and the chimneys shrouded in grey cloud. Ekitike back to Kerkez, who in turn goes all the way back to Van Dijk. That's a good touch though from Cullen. And now an opportunity for Chowner to run at the Liverpool back line, across field. Anthony takes a touch and his right-footed shot is only just over the bar. And for all of Liverpool's possession, it's Burnley with the first shot on goal, and it's only a couple of yards over the crossbar.
Yeah, really good play from Burnley. The amount of players they got forward quickly there. It was just a sloppy pass from Van Dijk, really straight ball into the centre of midfield, and Burnley pounced on it. Suddenly 4 players in attack, and yes, it ended up with a shot just from inside the D. Oh, not really troubling Alisson, that shot from Anthony. I'd like to have got that on target, but good play from Burnley.
So from Turf Moor to Tokyo, excitement building ahead of the 2 100-metre finals. Alison Kirbishley and Catherine Merry.
Indeed, Chris, the women's 100 metres final is moments away. The world champions in there, the Olympic champions in there, and Britain's finest, Dina Asher-Smith. 5 nations represented, only 1 world gold up for grabs.
Cheers, Kath. We'll be with you for that women's 100 metres final, and the men's will not be too far after. Liverpool, meanwhile, have forced the first corner of the afternoon. Wirtz comes across to this near side to take it. Many of Liverpool's taller players are inside the penalty area. Konate and Van Dijk, the 2 most eye-catching. Wirtz with his right arm aloft. Not much movement in the penalty area. That changes now. A deep corner. Konate rises and Kerkez loops it over the crossbar. Didn't really get enough purchase on the volley. And Burnley have this goal kick with 8 minutes played. 5 live BBC sounds. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be Kerkez on the 6-yard box trying to get the last finish. One of the smaller players on the pitch today. He was just quick to react. He made a dummy run. He was trying to help block for the runs of Van Dijk and Konate behind him, and the ball fell to him. Just couldn't react quick enough to keep it under the bar.
Milos Kerkez, who continues to keep Andy Robertson out of the team. Robertson named on the bench, as he has been for Liverpool's Premier League games so far. Anthony will scamper after a ball down the inside left channel. Szoboszlai clears, and effectively clears as well. Salah in front of Ogachukwu, and Liverpool have a throw midway through their own half.
He's done well, Szoboszlai, hasn't he? Obviously not an orthodox right back. He's been asked to do a job for the team, and certainly hasn't disappointed. Some of his passing range, his defending has been pretty good as well.
Conor Bradley, Jeremy Frimpong, both on Liverpool's bench. Gakpo moving ominously forward. That's a fine ball into the penalty area. Ekdal in front of Ekitike, who's down. No real appeals for a penalty, and he will gingerly pick himself back up inside the penalty area. Meanwhile, Foster gets away from Konate, but he did that illegally, and Liverpool have this free kick just inside the Burnley half.
Yeah, just a tug of the, I think it was the shorts actually, from Foster as he was trying to get away from Konate. The referee's always going to give them, but just seeing the replay of the other end, it was just a coming together. Good defending from Estevez. Ekitike was just trying to run across him, just a little bump, just what defenders will do, just to knock strikers off their stride, and Ekitike went to ground.
Maxime Esteve on this remarkable run of games for Burnley. He started Burnley's last 64 league games, now 65, as Ekdal deals with a cross from Salah into the penalty area. Cleared for a Liverpool throw on that far side, the right, as Liverpool go from right to left in their green kit. It's a hushed Turf Moor for now. I'm not sure whether the weather has just taken the voice from many fans. It's chilly, isn't it? There's a definite autumnal chill in the air as Gravenberg plays it out to that right-hand side. Szoboszlai's cross, Verts the target. Walker puts it behind for another Liverpool corner. Wasn't too sure what was behind him. Gakpo was a good 7 or 8 yards away, but Walker sensibly concedes the corner.
Yeah, as you'd expect from Szoboszlai playing on the right-hand side. He's got a wonderful right foot, brilliant delivery. I think actually Cody Gakpo will be a bit frustrated. He just didn't try and make that run inside Kyle Walker earlier. May have been able to do something, but as it was, Kyle Walker got there first, defended it well.
Verts took the first corner. Gakpo will take the second, left arm aloft this time into the heart of the penalty area. Konate heads it over from point blank range. He was right underneath the crossbar, but he got too much on the header, and over it goes for a Burnley goal kick. 11 minutes played, Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. To Tokyo, the women's 100 metres final. Kath Merry.
Thank you, Chris. The loudest roar has just been given for Shelley Ann Fraser-Pryce from Jamaica, the greatest female 100-metre runner of all time. The 5-time world champion starts in lane number 8. Sha'Carri Richardson from the USA goes into the defending world champion. Sarika Jackson from Jamaica, the silver medalist in Budapest 2 years ago, behind Richardson, goes in 3. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, the fastest qualifier, the fastest woman in the world this year. She hasn't lost over 100 metres. The American starts in 4. The Olympic champion Julian Alfred from St Lucia goes in 5. The second fastest athlete in the world this year goes 1 lane inside Tina Clayton, the Jamaican champion, in 6. Marie-José Talu from the Ivory Coast, 4th in this event 2 years ago, goes in 7. Shelley Ann Fraser-Pryce, the Jamaican, in 8. And the British record holder, Dina Asher-Smith, the sole representative, goes in lane number 9. The final of the women's 100 metres. 3 Jamaicans, 2 Americans, the Ivory Coast, St Lucia and Great Britain and Northern Ireland represented. 1 world gold on the line. 68,000 people fall silent. The women's 100 metres world final. It's a clean start, and Jefferson-Wooden from America out well. She's leading this one. Here comes Julian Alfred though in the centre line. She's got a bit of work to do, but Melissa Jefferson-Wooden turns on the afterburners. The American strikes gold. 10.61 seconds. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, the fastest woman in the world this year, is the world champion, smashing the championship record of Sha'Carri Richardson, and that is the 4th fastest time ever over 100 metres.
You've got to go on form, haven't you, Kath? And this woman was unbeaten all year. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden came here and did what she had to do. She exploded out the blocks. She stamped her authority on that race from the outset. Julian Alfred had no response. The Olympic champion has to wait another 2 years to try and add a world title. But congratulations, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden.
Gold goes to the USA again, a championship record of 10.61 seconds. Tina Clayton from Jamaica, a lifetime best of 10.76, picks up the silver. And Julian Alfred, the Olympic champion, picks up the bronze. Dina Asher-Smith in 8th with 11.08 seconds.
Alison, Kath, thank you very much indeed. Liverpool on the attack. Wirtz with a low ball into the penalty area. Walker in the way. And then the Wirtz follow-up volley is mishit and over the crossbar. Back to Tokyo for the men's 100 metres final shortly. The beauty of live radio, Leon, we can go from a wet and miserable turf moor to, I'm sure, a humid and hot Tokyo in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I would certainly say wet. I wouldn't call it miserable. I think we're seeing some good football so far. I think Liverpool have started to really push this Burnley team back. I think there was a big chance just before we went to the race, and I think that header from Konate was a really big opportunity right in the centre of the goal, and just threw his whole head at it. Went for power. He was only 2, maybe 3 yards out. Only need to let it brush his head. Since then, Liverpool have had another corner, and they're always looking a threat. Burnley had probably best to try not to give any away further down the line.
Yeah, Liverpool have looked dangerous from the set pieces they've had thus far. 15 minutes played. 5 Live also available on the BBC Sounds app. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0, and Burnley will be relatively pleased with their start, although they're not pleased with the referee Michael Oliver, who's booking Leslie Ugachukwu for a foul on Alexis McAllister just inside the Burnley half. And Burnley felt that Ugachukwu won plenty of the ball, but McAllister is still on the floor and the yellow card has been brandished.
Yeah, well, it looked like a tackle where he was off his feet, but he did win the ball. I think there certainly must have been contact, because straight away Alexis McAllister was indicating that contact had been made. He was eager to let the referee know. He's still on the floor. I haven't seen a replay. My first reaction was it looked like one of those good old school challenges where you cannot help but to follow through. It is. I'm just seeing it again. It's a challenge where he wins the ball. I think then it ricochets into Alexis McAllister's feet, goes the way of the Liverpool midfielder. I just don't think you can help when you make that challenge but follow through in those situations. Unfortunately, on this occasion, he has made contact with McAllister's ankle, which is pretty stuck in the floor, so he has kind of rolled his ankle. I can completely understand why Alexis McAllister is in pain after that challenge, but he's unfortunate, the Burnley midfielder. I find it hard to make those challenges without making contact with the opposition's player.
It's certainly the follow-through that is caused the issue for Alexis McAllister, who is still receiving treatment just inside the Burnley half, which gives us another chance to head back to Tokyo with the men's 100 metres final not too far away, Kath.
Yeah, USA have just won the gold with Melissa Jefferson-Wooden in the 4th fastest time in history. The men's 100-metre final to come. The defending world champion and Olympic champion Noah Lyles goes in lane number 4. But Jamaica is strong. The fastest man in the world this year, Kashane Thompson, looking to get the title back to Jamaica for the first time since 2015.
And we'll be there very shortly for the 100 metres men's final. You're not missing anything at Turf Moor because McAllister is still receiving treatment. Dominic Szoboszlai now on his haunches next to McAllister with some words. Konate's not too far away either. He looks okay, McAllister. At least he looks okay to get to his feet and hobble off. Whether he's okay, Leon, to continue remains to be seen. Although looking down from our very lofty position in the North Stand, I can't see any Liverpool players warming up. Actually, who's that on the far side? Conor Bradley warming up, yeah. So that would move Szoboszlai into the centre of midfield. But I think McAllister is okay to continue, although he will have to surely leave the field, will he not? Because he's received treatment, and that's what the Burnley fans are angry about.
Yeah, it is. It seems like he's just taken the pass. It doesn't look like he's suffering at the moment. I'm sure he'll be able to run that off. But I feel sorry for players sometimes these days who are trying to tackle. You have to make a tackle, you have to win the ball, but you have to make absolutely zero contact with your opponent. So hard to do.
Konate's ball into the penalty area. We are back underway. McAllister looks okay. Walker allows that to drift out of play, and Burnley have this goal kick. 0-0, 18 minutes played. We'll keep an eye on McAllister to see how freely he is moving. Leslie Ugachukwu did get that yellow card, Burnley's record signing at £23 million. So he'll just have to be careful. It is very much the conditions for hefty slide tackling, isn't it, with the rain falling and that nice zippiness to the pitch. Van Dijk's header towards halfway. Wirtz shrugs Cullen to one side, but Cullen gets it back on halfway. Anthony will race onto this far side to the left for Burnley as they go from left to right. Canate with the challenge, and Burnley have a throw, and they continue to direct their ire at Michael Oliver, and I can only presume, Leon, that's because they feel Alexis McAllister should have been taken off the field for 30 seconds because he did receive treatment.
Yeah, I think they wanted a decision to go their way just moments ago as well, and the referee thought it was just a little bit soft in the middle of the field.
Anthony picks up the ball in a dangerous position by the corner flag, plays it against Szoboszlai, but it got the dreaded double kiss, and out of play it goes for a Liverpool goal kick. And it's back to Tokyo, the men's 100 metres final. Alison Kirbishley, Catherine Merry.
The athletes have been introduced, and in lane 4, Noah Lyles playing up to the crowd, anime style, and he needs to start, the defending world and Olympic champion here. Usain Bolt on the big screen looking on. Can a Jamaican win the world title for the first time since him in 2015? Sabine from South Africa goes in 2, Ajayi of Nigeria in 3, Noah Lyles in 4, Kashane Thompson, the fastest man in the world this year, 9.75 seconds. That's the fastest time in the world for 10 years. Kenny Benarek, the American, fastest qualifier, US champion, goes in 6. Oblique Seville, the 24-year-old, twice fourth at the World Championship, goes in 7. Letsile Tobogo from Botswana, the Olympic 200-metre champion, goes in 8. And Gif Leoflela of South Africa goes in 9. The talking stops. The time has run out. And there's been a lot of talking this year. It's the final of the men's 100 metres. Well, it looks potentially, Chris, like a false start to Letsile Tobogo, the Olympic 200-metre champion in lane 8. We'll confirm it with you shortly.
Kath, thank you very much. We will be back with you when everyone has sorted themselves out and the start line is reformed. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. We are quite fortunate that when we do zip to Tokyo, not much happens here. Liverpool continue to dominate possession, but they need to move it quicker, you feel, to penetrate this Burnley back line. They might do it now. Wirtz, right foot shot, edge of the area, really well blocked. Liverpool pick up the pieces once again. Van Dijk, centre of the Burnley half. Gravenberch and Kerkez, nice 1-2, and back to Kerkez into the penalty area. Felled under the challenge of Laurent, but he dived, according to the referee, who was the recipient of many boos a few moments ago. He's getting loud cheers now because Kerkez goes into the book. Simulation, according to Michael Oliver.
Yeah, from my first view, he's got that one right. Definite booking, definite dive.
Back to Tokyo, Kath.
Letsile Tobogo, the Olympic 200-metre champion, has been disqualified from the men's 100-metre world final for a false start. They line up again, the camera focusing on Kashane Thompson. The bright gold vest of Jamaica, the fastest man in the world this year, starts in 5. Sambini of South Africa in 2, Ajayi of Nigeria in 3, the defending world champion and Olympic champion Noah Lyles in 4, Thompson in 5, Benarek in 6, Seville in 7, and Letolela of South Africa in 9. The camera focusing on Noah Lyles, the same hairstyle he had when he won world gold in Eugene 3 years ago. Looks down the track for the final time. Who's going to get the start? Who's going to get the world gold? Now we have a clean start, and Kashane Thompson's going well in the centre line. The big Jamaicans leading this one. Kashane Thompson leads. Seville, his training partner, on his shoulder. Jamaica win gold! Oblique Seville in lane number 7 runs 9.78 seconds. He is the champion of the world. The 24-year-old who was wound up by Noah Lyles after the heat for panicking in warm-up, for having a rubbish start in his heat, is the world champion. Gold for Jamaica and a lifetime best of 9.77 seconds. Silver for Jamaica with Kashane Thompson at 9.82, and Noah Lyles, the Olympic champion, in bronze at 9.89.
Wow! And Oblique Seville celebrates by ripping his shirt apart And guess who did that when they won the World Championships? Noah Lyles back in 2022. That was definitely a sign to say, finally, the green and gold of Jamaica are on top of the world as the great Usain Bolt looks down. They didn't just get gold, they got silver as well, and Noah Lyles, for the first time in a long time, has to settle for a minor medal.
The Jamaican fans in front of us, Chris, are going absolutely wild, as is Usain Bolt. The top is off from the world champion Oblique Seville. The black, green and gold have the fastest man in the world again.
And where have we heard that before? Alison, Kath, thank you very much indeed. The concluding moments of Day 2 of the World Athletics Championships actually on BBC One for the next half hour or so. Here at Turf Moor, Burnley 0, Liverpool 0, 5 Live and BBC Sounds. McAllister has the ball in the centre of the Burnley half. And Leon, I'm sure Arne Slot would want a little bit more from his side, because Burnley have been largely untroubled in the opening 24-25 minutes.
Yeah, the pattern of play hasn't changed since we started the game. Liverpool with very comfortable possession midway inside Burnley's half, probably 35-40 yards out. Every player is beyond that, apart from Virgil van Dijk. And Liverpool not moving the ball quick enough. We've had one little burst where Gravenberch himself decided he was going to try and dribble through the centre of Burnley's team. Suddenly that caused a little bit of confusion on the positional sense of Burnley. Liverpool then nearly had opportunities to create something. Other than that, Liverpool have been happy just to play across and play in front of this well-organised Burnley formation today of 5-4-1, and I think Scott Parker will be pleased with the opening 25 minutes.
We can see both head coaches in front of the Bob Lord stand opposite us. Arne Slot, black jacket on, hands plunged deep in his pockets, and Scott Parker in his blue jacket just on the edge of his technical area, arms folded, and he's turned away in disgust because goalkeeper Martin Dubravka miscues a clearance, and that's out of play for a Liverpool throw on this near side there left. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Some news out of Sheffield United, which is not the most surprising news of the day. Ruben Sellers has lost his job as manager of Sheffield United after their appalling start to the season. Lots of rumours that Chris Wilder, who was dismissed in the summer, might be heading back in to retrieve the situation. Free kick given Liverpool's way, Anthony on Konate. And a good job for Liverpool, because it was a 2-on-1 situation had Michael Oliver not given that in Burnley's favour.
Yeah, I think it was just about a foul from Ogachukwu. Well, that's what Burnley want. They want Liverpool's centre-half stepping into uncomfortable positions, trying to play on the half-turn, getting themselves in a little bit of bother, and had the referee allowed play to go on. Burnley were 2v1 with Virgil van Dijk, so yes, they're comfortable at the moment, Liverpool, but they won't want to overexpose themselves in that way they just did there.
Burnley having to work so hard off the ball as Liverpool build in their controlled style as it is at the moment. Van Dijk and Konate, the two centre-backs, combine, but all this very deep inside the Burnley half. The ponytail Van Dijk to Kerkez, recently booked, his left-footed ball in, it's over Salah's head, but Szoboszlai will pick it up on that far side, the right. Salah offers the angle, and the red-booted Egyptian gets it back, but that's an errant pass. Don't often say that about Salah. However, Wirtz working really hard to win the ball back. Foster not allowing him any space to turn, and Burnley striker, who has had to do a lot of defending himself, does well to win the ball back, and in doing that wins a throw off Szoboszlai, and he gets a big high five from Scott Parker. It was right in front of the Burnley manager. That's the sort of work that he loves to see from his striker. Yeah,
very much appreciated from his teammates and from the crowd, because, as we say, Burnley are spending large portions of this game without the ball, so when the opportunity for their striker not only to hold it up but to win it back first before he then keeps it and tries to bring other people into play is vital. The more he does that, the better Burnley will look today.
It's those little moments that can get the crowd right behind this Burnley team. Anthony runs out of road, and that'll be a Liverpool throw level with the edge of their own penalty area. Something that you mentioned pre-match, Leon, the noticeable change in Burnley's styles from their last excursion in the Premier League, which ended with a whimper under Vincent Kompany, just 24 points, 8 from safety, but that possession-based game that they didn't deviate from, costing them Whereas the Burnley we remember under Sean Dyche were direct, they were physical. It might not have been pretty to watch, but it was certainly effective, and it seems that's the way Scott Parker is going, as Wirtz swings a ball into the penalty area. Esteve, affectionately known as Steve in these parts, heads away on the penalty spot. McAllister into Gravenberch, first time ball round the corner. Walker and Wirtz, and Walker uses all of his 35 years to skip away from Wirtz and clear downfield, and Liverpool have to start again with Szoboszlai to Allison inside Liverpool's penalty area.
Yeah, they're defending stubbornly. Burnley, they really are. They're moving across the pitch really well. They're trying to frustrate this Liverpool team, but yeah, I'm not seeing Liverpool move the ball quick enough. I'm not seeing them trying to filter the ball into sort of number 10 positions at the moment. It's just right now. I've just seen McAllister go in kind of alongside Wirtz in between the two lines of Burnley that Burnley have set up defensively, allowing Gravenberch and Virgil van Dijk to be deeper, trying to thread the balls through in there. As of yet, Wirtz has come deep, McAllister's come deep, and Ekitike's been really isolated against that back three of Burnley, and they found it comfortable.
The voice of former Everton and England midfielder Leon Osman with us on 5 Live. Ekitike with a fraction of time on the edge of the Burnley penalty area, but fraction was the word because it was quickly closed down the space, and now Foster has it for Burnley on the edge of the Liverpool penalty area, trying to get the wrong side of Van Dijk, and that is much easier said than done. And Van Dijk actually wins the free kick, with Foster just using his body to ease Van Dijk out of the way.
Yeah, I think it was a free kick. I think Foster was looking for the corner. I think there was a moment earlier, if he'd just look up, Chowner bursting his gut into the middle, trying to create some space against Kerkez. May have been able to find a pass to him, but Van Dijk gets you in that 1v1 situation. It's generally the Liverpool defender that comes out on top.
We'll be heading back to Sandy Park for an update in the Women's Rugby Union World Cup between France and Ireland shortly. We'll see how this latest Liverpool attack develops. Gakpo's running at Walker, left-hand side of the box, chipped into the penalty area. Dubravka parries, Gravenberch volleys into the feet of Cullen. Szoboszlai hits, but hits over the crossbar via a deflection, so it's a Liverpool corner. Well, we saw Szoboszlai crash in that brilliant free kick against Arsenal. We know he strikes a mean ball. He hit that well. Referee points for a corner, Leon, and we'll watch the replay to see if that was the correct call.
Yeah, even in the replay, unless they show multiple angles, I don't think you'll see if it did touch the heel or the boot of Anthony. It's very difficult to say. I'm looking at the replay, I still can't see it. Only those closest to it will actually know. What I will say is Michael Oliver is one of those closest. He said it connected with the Burnley player, and he's given the decision. But the Burnley fans are starting to get frustrated with some of them.
Outswing Wirtz, corner, far side the right. Ekitike challenged at the front post. It was over his head. Anthony's touch lets him down. Had that been a little more sure, Burnley were on the counter-attack. Wirtz remains on that far side the right, following the corner. Instant control, but then has to think quickly with Hartman closing him down and winning the ball courtesy of a good slide challenge. However, Hartman now runs out of pitch, and Liverpool have another corner, and they might not be catching the eye with their open play football, but they're certainly causing problems with their set-piece deliveries.
Yeah, but I also think this is a moment of danger for both teams. I think Liverpool have looked dangerous when the ball has been delivered into the right areas, but Burnley have looked like they've got opportunities if they can make that first pass in the counter-attack.
Short corner this time, the first time Liverpool have utilised that route. McAllister's ball in as Stev heads away, just away from Kerkez as well. And he managed to control it. It was a free shot on goal for the Liverpool left-back. Gravenberch to Szoboszlai, dead centre of the Burnley half, but it's pedestrian and slow tempo for Liverpool, who are finding it very difficult to break through this Burnley back line. Ekitike is on the edge of the box, which is not particularly where he wants to be. He's not going to cause any problems there. Szoboszlai swarmed upon by 2-3 Burnley players. Gakpo coming in field, chipped to the back post. It's a ball that Liverpool have used often, but it's a ball that Burnley have cleared very often as well. Salah battling far side the left, level with the edge of the Burnley penalty area, but they've doubled up on him. Hartman goes to the ground, and the roar you can hear akin to Burnley taking the lead is because they've got a decision from Michael Oliver. They have another decision now as Anthony falls to the floor, and I think you get the idea. Burnley are not being overly enamoured by Michael Oliver's officiating so far.
I think they've made that quite clear to Michael Oliver. And funnily enough, I actually thought the first one should have been a foul Liverpool's way, and Michael Oliver tried to let play continue and then gave the second foul to Burnley. I thought the second foul that they've just given certainly was. I think Burnley were quite quick, played a long pass up to Anthony, who actually tried to bring the ball down one-on-one with Kirkes had he managed to do so, and Kirkes just jumped on his back. A little bit of panic in that situation. So two very quick decisions by Michael Oliver awarded to Burnley, which now gives them an opportunity to put the ball in Liverpool's box,
which Quincy Hartman will do with this deep free kick, angled towards the back post, and the header from Ekdal is off target. Got the wrong side of Kirkes, but couldn't direct his header goalwards. So Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. The last time we were with Adam Whitty at Sandy Park for France-Ireland, Ireland were looking good. Is that still the case, Adam?
Well, it is. 58 minutes gone, but France are on the board and mounting a comeback. Morgan Bourgeois from the tee, meaning it's Ireland 13, France 3. 2 tries for Ireland, giving them that slender lead. But the French camped in Irish territory as we speak. 22 minutes to go. Can Ireland hang on for what would be their first ever quarter-final win? Ireland 13, France 3. 60 minutes gone.
Thank you, Adam. Sports Extra 2 via the BBC Sounds app for commentary, with England-Scotland to come at 4:30. Bit of space for Salah on the edge of the box, tees up McAllister, and then one on to Kirkes. The momentum has just been lost from this rather promising Liverpool attack, and the ball in, blocked by Walker. It's another Liverpool corner, but that was much more like it from a Liverpool perspective.
Yeah, Walker does very well in the end to stop that cross coming in, but it's the first time I mentioned 5 or 6 minutes ago about Liverpool trying to get in between the lines, trying to get players in there. That's the first time they really managed to do it, and actually, but for a sloppy touch or a sloppy pass, Salah should have had a shot from inside the D. Didn't quite get that right, but have won a corner.
Liverpool have looked threatening from corners. Here comes the latest, Gakpo into the hands of Dubravka, and that was comfortably defended by Burnley. Kyle Walker now rolling back the years and herring over halfway, far side the left, white wristband on. Anthony's hugging the touchline, and Burnley can just calm things down and get a feel for the ball, which is something they've not really had, with 10 minutes to play until half-time. Scott Parker will be delighted with his side. The big switch of play from left to right, just too far ahead of Josh Laurent. And Liverpool have this throw. Left-back position, Burnley 0, Liverpool 0 as the rain restarts at a sodden Turf Moor. You can always tell when the rain rolls in, because the view to the western fringes of the Pennines that we have here from our vantage point just begins to get more and more obscure. And it's that sort of day in Lancashire, with the flag above the Bob Lord stand fluttering ever more violently as the wind picks up. Burnley win the ball back in the Liverpool half. Clever back heel, Chalmer. Laurent's low ball in, off Gravenberch and out for a Burnley corner, and Laurent turns to the crowd, fist pump. He wants a little bit more from them, and more passages of play like that will get them right behind this Burnley side.
Yeah, certainly, because that kind of play does help the crowd get off their feet. Burnley have retreated to their own penalty area for the majority of this game, but on that occasion, as a team, they pressed Liverpool in Liverpool's final third and actually got a bit of reward, won the ball back and forced a corner, and that does give the fans an opportunity to get behind them.
Corner near side the right for Burnley, the left-footed, heavily tattooed Hartman will deliver into the front post and headed away by Van Dijk. Good header as well, with several Burnley players lurking. Ekitike, the latest to head away. Wasn't the best delivery from Hartman, and it allows Salah to scamper over halfway near side the left. Options are limited for Salah. He goes for the deep back post ball, and he won't need me to tell you the outcome is a Burnley goal kick. Difficult for Salah because most Liverpool players were still defending the corner. Only Weerts was with him, and he was a long way off.
Yeah, he did the first part right, actually driving down that left-hand side, but really poor delivery. Did have Weerts up alongside him. It was a difficult pass, but a really poor effort to get it right.
Well, here is an interesting Liverpool change, because Milos Kerkez is being replaced and Andy Robertson is coming off. Now, first thought would be, Leon, yellow card for that dive. Is Arne Slot a little bit concerned about him, or has he picked up an injury?
For it to be done before half-time, I'd certainly think that there's some sort of injury. I mean, it's very rare. Yes, he has got a yellow card, but he hasn't mistimed a tackle, really. He hasn't done anything that you'd think one more and he needs to be replaced. So he must have picked some sort of injury, because I think it's quite common knowledge no player likes to be substituted before half-time.
7 minutes before half-time, and Andy Robertson comes on for his second appearance of the season. He's had to start this season on the bench with the arrival of Milos Kerkez. Gravenberch for Liverpool, slowly moving forward again inside the Burnley half. Robertson's first touch, a little bit loose, but he recovers and then bursts into the penalty area. Left foot shot saved by Dubravka. Well, he's been on the field about 10 seconds and he's already shown probably the most attacking threat from any Liverpool player.
Absolutely, that's the most dangerous Liverpool have been. And I think while he was on the pitch, I think the positions that Kerkez were taking up was actually pretty dangerous for Liverpool. He certainly wasn't as a left back. He was going in at times as a second or third number 10, the way Liverpool were playing in those kind of areas, and actually getting the ball, having the ability to nutmeg a player and just try and bend a shot with the outside of his foot, but easy for Dubravka.
McAllister, talking of easy for Dubravka, his volley straight into Burnley's goalkeeper's hands. Back to Sandy Park we go. Adam Whitty.
Well, what did I say, Chris? Last time we spoke, beware the French comeback. Charlotte Escudero has scored to make it France 10, Ireland 13. And in the blink of an eye, the Irish lead looks very shaky indeed. Escudero over to the left of the post. Just reward for French pressure at the start of the second half. We've got a tense and thrilling finish ahead in this quarter-final. 61 minutes gone. Ireland 13, France 10.
Sports Extra 2 for the conclusion. Thank you, Adam. Ekitike for Liverpool, left-hand side of the penalty area, step over, he's away from Laurent and bends it just wide of the far post. I think he was looking for the Salah tap-in. Salah was a long way from it, in the end wide by 4 or 5 yards, but that was a moment of promise, another little moment of promise for Liverpool.
Wonderful play, brilliant individual skill. He does what that kind of striker wants to do. He runs the channel. For once, Gravenberch actually plays the ball into the space, gives him an opportunity, pick the ball up down the side of the penalty area. Lovely step over to beat Laurent, and then actually picks his head up. He doesn't actually have anybody there for a tap-in. Almost Salah wasn't in the position he should have been. Considering his centre forward was out in the wide left position, should have got in there. He was probably 12-14 yards out, so I actually think he was prodding it towards the back stick, Ekitike, and didn't actually miss by much, as it just went really close to that far post.
2 goals in his first 3 Liverpool matches in the Premier League. He's had a very good start to life in a Liverpool shirt, Hugo Ekitike. Gakpo now accelerating towards the edge of the Burnley box, left-hand side. His right foot shot cannons off Ekdal, and out of play for a Liverpool corner, and a noticeable increase in the tempo in the last 5 minutes from Arne Slot's side. First Robertson, then Ekitike, and now Gakpo with a little bit more pace to the Liverpool attack. Yeah,
but this is the kind of tempo and pace, as you mentioned, that I'd have expected Liverpool to play with for the majority of the first half. I don't know why it took so long to get them into speed, but yeah, good play from Gakpo, as you'd expect, cutting off the left side, trying to bend it in the far corner.
And it results in this Liverpool corner, far side the right. Wirtz delivers, Konate the target again. The header, the initial header was up rather than out, but Loom Chowner completes the clearance for Burnley and then gets a couple of fortuitous ricochets that allows the ever more convincing clearance to turn into a mini attack. However, Alisson quickly off his line to pick up for Liverpool, and suddenly there's a little more of an open feel to this game. Robertson infield, Van Dijk inside the centre circle, and now McAllister can just plot Liverpool forward with 3 minutes to play until half-time at Turf Moor. 5 Live, also available on the BBC Sounds app, where there is a smorgasbord of sport this afternoon. There's something for everyone. Rugby union, cricket, there's golf. I say cricket, my hunch is that there probably isn't any cricket at the moment on Sports Extra, with the rain falling at Trent Bridge. England, South Africa, that third T20 international. If that does get underway, Sports Extra 4 it, Sports Extra 2 for the rugby, France, Ireland, England, Scotland to come at 4:30. The golf continues on Sports Extra 3, the BMW PGA Championship from Wentworth. And then later on tonight, the NFL on Sports Extra, a repeat of last season's Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles against the Kansas City Chiefs. Robertson with a ball from Gakpo that is heavily hit. out of play for a goal kick. And with 2 minutes to play until half-time, Leon, there is no doubt which one of these sides will be the happiest if it remains this way at the break.
Yeah, of course, but I do think that, Liverpool are the champions and they know how to win football matches, so I don't think they'll be too disappointed either going in 0-0 at the break. What I will say is, I think the position of Andy Robertson, Kirkes before him, Robertson there, it's just something that Burnley haven't planned for in all of their tactical work. He's the player in that position now. He could have been played in there had Cody Gakpo not hit the pass so hard. Burnley don't seem to have an answer for that kind of run. I'm sure that Arne Slot will be saying that at half-time. Let's see if we can continue to play that running. Don't be shy with making those runs to Andy Robertson.
He continues to patrol his technical area, does Arne Slot, as does Scott Parker, who will have bad memories of his last managerial skirmish with Liverpool. His then Bournemouth side losing 9-0 at Anfield, and he lost his job 3 days later. You might remember his post-match interviews where he was relatively scathing about the quality of his squad. Gary O'Neill eventually coming in and turning things around for Bournemouth. They survived quite comfortably that season. He's watching his Burnley side defend really well, and we're into the final minute of normal time with stoppage time to come in this first half. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Gakpo level with the edge of the Burnley penalty area, left-hand side. Ekitike has taken up that position outside the box on more than one occasion. It means there's not really anyone for Liverpool to aim for in the box. Wirtz little touch round a corner. The focus of the attack now on Salah's side, which is the right, and he can't collect with Wirtz's ball through. Had Salah got that touch correct, he may have had a shot on goal, but a difficult ball to control. And Liverpool can start again inside the centre circle. They continue to methodically tick forward, this metronomic passing style, but Burnley have been very equal to it so far. McAllister goes long into the box. I'm not sure who he saw there, and even had someone been making that back post run, it was way overhit. Out it goes for a goal kick, and we are into 3 minutes of added on time, goalless between Burnley and Liverpool.
Yeah, I think Burnley have been, I've mentioned it before, set up well defensively, but every time Liverpool do get into the wide areas, they're always turning back, coming inside. So all the crosses are always, those in-swingers coming onto the Burnley defenders. The Burnley back three in particular are set, ready for them to come in. I just wonder if they'd be better sometimes just getting to the byline, getting in behind this Liverpool, trying to get in behind this Burnley back five. Just give them something else to think about. I'm sure Ekitike would love coming onto the ball rather than trying to flick one goalwards. Yeah, the moments of promise for Liverpool have tended to come when they do that sort of thing. Another long ball forward is expertly defended by Esteve, nodding it back to Martin Dubravka in his garish, luminous orange goalkeeping kit from head to toe. The claret shirts of Burnley rampaging forward, which is not something we've said too often in this first half. Walker's short pass to Loom Chowner with the long hair bobbing up and down as he charges forward, but Burnley keeping very safe and comfortable possession. Laurent back to Ekdal, he looks long. Chowner's header in field. Foster won't get the wrong side of Konate, the stooping Konate. And now the fleet-footed Ekitike to find Gravenberch in the centre circle. How ambitious will Liverpool be in the final couple of minutes of the first half? The overlapping Robertson now, they're getting the other side of Gakpo. His left-footed ball across. Wirtz's touch is excellent, and the low ball in was just the wrong side of Ekitike, but the referee has blown his whistle. Is there a handball, maybe?
I think it just popped up and hit the hand of Wirtz as he tried to control it, but Liverpool looked a bit more dangerous there. It's no surprise to me that Andy Robertson made an overlap and run. Cody Gakpo, instead of coming inside, played the overlap and run, and suddenly give Burnley something else to think about. They'd had to drop a little bit deeper. Suddenly Wirtz found a little bit of space. Had his touch been better, could have been the opening goal.
He's had a difficult start to his Liverpool career, but you say difficult. I think when you come with a price tag that he came with, a lot of things are expected from Bundesliga's player of the season for Leverkusen. He gets in good positions, doesn't he?
He's certainly not done badly.
No.
There's no question that he's come and not played well. It's just that, as you say, it's unfortunate for him. His reputation and his price tag means everybody expects us to see him setting up 3 or 4 goals a game. Really, probably 10 nutmegs a game. That kind of performance. So it's going to be difficult for a player to match some reputation sometimes.
Yeah, and it's the sort of expectation that'll be on Alexander Isak's shoulders if you are just tuning our way on 5 Live and Sports and BBC Sounds and expecting to hear Isak's name? Well, you won't, because he's not included today, not even on the bench, the £125 million signing from Newcastle. Final seconds of the first half, and that is the half-time whistle from Michael Oliver. And Burnley will be very pleased with their 45 minutes of work. And the cheers and the applause you can hear from the Burnley faithful is very well deserved, because they've kept Liverpool, the reigning Premier League champions, quiet. They have dominated possession of Liverpool, no surprise there, but they have created precious little. An Ekitike chance, Gakpo had a shot from distance, Robertson on as a sub for Kirkes had a left foot prod, but other than that, Leon Osman, it has been a very quiet half from the Premier League champions.
Yeah, I think Scott Parker will be pleased with what he's seen from his Burnley team in the first half. I think they've defended well, they've thwarted Liverpool, they've looked like they have the opportunities occasionally, if they just show a bit more quality, to create on the counter-attack. But those opportunities are few and far between. Liverpool have controlled the football match, so I think Arne Slot will be satisfied rather than pleased with that first half. And we've got a game of chess on our hands. Neither's really prepared to make the first move, and we've now got 45-minute football match where the managers get to go in at half-time, use what they've seen in the first half, make some tweaks and changes to really affect what happens in the second half.
Yeah, the players troop off the field, the boos in the direction of Michael Oliver, who the Burnley fans feel was a little bit harsh in a few decisions, predominantly the yellow card given to Leslie Ugochukwu, but they will be very pleased with their side at half-time, Steve, at a sodden Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0.
Yeah, I think everywhere's a little bit sodden at the moment, isn't it? Thank you very much, gents. Of course, we'll be back at Turf Moor for second half commentary. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0 are now live from the Etihad Stadium. Lots more to come ahead of Manchester City, Manchester United, the derby, a 4:30 kickoff. Let's check in on the rugby, shall we, Adam Whitty?
France come back complete from 13-0 down to 15-13 up with 70 minutes gone. A quick breakaway backs move finished superbly by wing Joanna Grise on the right. Ireland have been outstanding for so long, but it might just be that the experienced French have got the grit and resilience to see them over the line. But it is the Irish who are deep in French territory at the moment. Can they strike back with 10 minutes to go? It's France 15, Ireland 13 in the World Cup quarter-final.
Commentary of that one available right now on Sports Extra 2. Following that, also on Sports Extra 2, will be from Ashton Gate, the final of the quarter-finals, England versus Scotland. Right, we'll be round all of the other live sport. We'll get the build-up underway proper to the Manchester derby before second-half commentary from Turf Moor, all after the latest news on 5 Live with Richard Foster.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thanks, Steve. Good afternoon. Ricky Hatton has died at the age of 46. Police say he was found at his home near Manchester and his death isn't being treated as suspicious. The pinnacle of Ricky's career came in 2005 when he beat Costa Chu to become a world champion for the first time. He spoke about it later.
Beforehand, I couldn't have rated it that good. How I wanted it to be. So, and to do it in Manchester in front of my people and my home fans, and in a fight where I was expected to get a bit of a whooping, to have him quit on his stool, it was. He's still talked about in Manchester today, so it makes me feel very proud.
Ricky Hatton was a 3-time world light welterweight and welterweight belt holder. The commentator and former WBC super middleweight champion Richie Woodall has been speaking to 5 Live Sport.
What a shock. It's incredible because obviously, he's recently announced that he wanted to come back and have another contest. So I knew he was getting back into the gym, getting into shape again, and he needed that goal really, because he just loves the sport of boxing. To hear this news, man, it's just, I'm gobsmacked. I really am.
Other stories this afternoon, and relatives of Virginia Giuffre say Prince Andrew needs to be fully investigated over claims he abused her. Virginia Giuffre and Jeffrey Epstein introduced her to the Prince in 2001 when she was 17. She claims he sexually assaulted her 3 times. The Prince has denied all the claims against him. Sir Keir Starmer says Britain won't surrender its flag to people who want to use it as a symbol of violence or division. The Prime Minister says the flag represents diversity. He's been speaking after more than 150,000 people went to a march organised by the far-right activist Tommy Robinson. Romania says a Russian drone has breached its airspace. The country's defence ministry says fighter jets were in the air monitoring a Russian attack in Ukraine on Saturday and were able to track the drone near Ukraine's southern border. And a yellow wind warning's been issued across most of England and all of Wales. It runs from 8 o'clock tonight till tomorrow evening. Low pressure is sweeping in from the Atlantic, bringing strong winds and heavy rain across the UK.
The Champions League is back on 5 Live. On Tuesday at 5:45, it's Athletic Club versus Arsenal.
Followed by Spurs versus Villarreal at 8.
Then on Wednesday at 8, Bayern Munich hosts Chelsea.
And on Thursday at 8, it's Newcastle versus Barcelona. 5 Live Sport.
The Champions League.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
And we're live from inside the Etihad Stadium, where at 4:30 we'll be bringing you full commentary of Manchester City versus Manchester United. Just walked in here a few minutes ago, and lots of people outside talking to each other about the absolutely horrendous news that you'll have heard in the news bulletin there. The former world boxing champion Ricky Hatton has died at the age of 46. I see Manchester City and Manchester United have tweeted about it. City say, "We're devastated to learn that Ricky Hatton has passed away at the age of 46. Ricky was one of City's most loved and revered supporters, who will always be remembered for a glittering boxing career that saw him win world titles at welterweight and light welterweight. Everyone at the club would like to send our heartfelt condolences to his family and friends at this difficult time. We can confirm there will be a minute's appreciation ahead of today's game against Manchester United. Also expecting the City players to be wearing black armbands this afternoon as well. In fact, just in front of us here at the Etihad, I can see a Manchester City fan holding a scarf with the blue and white in front of it. Manchester United fans as well, and I'm sure they will be absolutely unified for what will be a very powerful tribute to Ricky Hatton. Let's just have a listen back to a couple of the great moments of his remarkable career, when he beat Costa Azul for the world title in 2005 and then Jose Luis Castillo in 2007.
Oh, and Costa Azul's been pulled out. He's been retired by his corner. The fight is all over, and Ricky Hatton is the champion of the world. That is one of the very, very great British boxing performances. Ricky Hatton tonight was stunning.
Hatton's going to work here, and Castillo has gone down. A body shot has put him on the floor. He's on one knee, and he's getting a tap from the referee. And Hatton really hurt Castillo with that. And Castillo is staying down, and Castillo is not getting up. And in the fourth round, Ricky Hatton has retained his title in fine style.
Well, earlier we spoke to 5 Live Boxing's Steve Bunce about this horrendous news and to reflect on the life and career of Ricky Hatton.
When it comes to popular, he's the most popular British fighter, I would argue, ever. Maybe Frank Bruno was more popular because, that's the popularity contest. But Ricky also had an incredible ability, and it was the drive and the desire that allowed him to succeed. He was maybe a bit too short for some of the things he achieved. Maybe his arms were a bit shorter for some of the things he achieved, but he drove himself on. Also drove himself on by, packed out, sold out arena, the MEN, and the thousands and thousands that went over to Las Vegas to watch him fight, that pushed him on, that drove him on, that inspired. I mean, we used the cliche people's champion. Well, no one's ever had come close to what Ricky was before, and no one's come close to what Ricky has been since. And the only boxer I can think of who was perhaps under more pressure as the fights went on was Anthony Joshua, who's been under incredible pressure since winning the gold in 2012, and also suffered from some demons. Let's get that absolutely right. And AJ's talking about that stuff as well, talking about the pressure, talking about how he's had to overcome an awful lot in his career. Well, Ricky had to do that. And at first, when he was fighting, there were no conversations about how it was maybe affecting him. Maybe as we go forward, maybe we'll look at guys we stick on giant pedestals, and we'll look at guys that can attract 35,000 or 36,000 people to travel to Las Vegas to see them fight. And we'll look at guys that can sell out the MEN half a dozen times in 2 or 3 years. And we'll look at, I wonder if they're feeling pressure, because just knowing they're getting 6 million, 10 million, 12 million or £500,000 isn't enough. And I think that's part of the conversation as well, Steve.
Yeah, that's Steve Bunce, who just did a remarkable job earlier today in amongst such an incredible shock for everybody paying tribute to Ricky Hatton, as did the former middleweight champion Richie Woodall, who was with us. You'll be able to hear from both of them on a 5 Live boxing podcast, a special podcast about the life of Ricky Hatton that we'll be putting out later on BBC Sounds. As I say, tributes here at the Etihad ahead of the Manchester derby as well. Just elsewhere, the rain is really coming down at Trent Bridge. Toss delayed for England's third and final T20 with South Africa. Sheffield United have confirmed the departure of Ruben Selles as manager. Chris Wilder has been heavily linked with a return to Bramall Lane. We've had a goal in the Women's Super League. It's at Goodison. Everton-Tottenham. Shojo.
It's Everton 0, Tottenham 1 with 29 minutes on the clock, Steve. Olga Artinen finishing off a really nice move by Tottenham right through the centre, hooking up with Bethany England, a nice prod home into the corner. It's been all Tottenham. Everton haven't got going. Everton 0, Tottenham 1.
As you'll have heard in first half commentary at Turf Moor, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden took the women's crown in the 4th fastest time in history in the 100-metre finals at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. Let's bring in Catherine Merry and Alison Kirbishley. Catherine, I was watching that whilst travelling, and there is focus and there is focus. That heaviness of being the favourite can do funny things to you, not to Jefferson-Wooden.
She has been phenomenal this year. She hasn't lost a race over 100 metres this season. She's only lost one in total over 100 and 200. She was, in some respects, the one to beat. But when you're lining up against the Olympic champion Julian Alfred, the defending world champion, her teammate Sha'Carri Richardson, you just don't know what happens in world major finals. It's a different pressure. She was outstanding. 10.61 seconds, as you say, the 4th fastest of all time, a championship record, the 10th time the USA have lifted the women's world title. She was amazing tonight, and it is just breathtaking to bring it to the listeners, myself and Ali, on 5 Live, and for people to witness it here. We're still getting over it. It was a very, very, very interesting and brilliant evening.
And do you know what I think, Steve, as well? If she's not working with a psychologist, she's a very good one herself, because she constantly kept talking about being the hunter, not the hunted. And she said, I haven't won a world title, so why am I the favourite? And she has now.
Yeah, and Ali, just on the men's as well, Oblique Silva beating Crashane Thompson for gold. Jamaica 1-2. Welcome back to the top of men's sprinting, Jamaica. Hey.
It's been a long time. 2016, the last time we saw that in the Olympic Games, a certain Usain Bolt. And wow, the green and gold fans were out celebrating. Oblique Seville, 4th, and he's been the Neely man so many times. But this year, again, he's looked great on the Diamond League circuit. The only time he'd ever beaten Noah Lyles was on the Diamond League circuit. The only time he's been beaten by Noah Lyles is in championships. Well, that was changed tonight. Roles reversed, and Noah Lyles had to settle with that bronze colour, which he's not used to.
Top work, UT. Thank you very much indeed. Let's take you over to the PGA Championship at Wentworth. Ian Carter.
Alex Noren at the top of the leaderboard at 18 under par. Birdies at the 12th and then at the 13th, and a superb par save from an awful lie in a bunker at the 14th means that the Swede is at 18 under par, but Adrien Sadier has just knocked in a birdie putt at the 14th, and the Frenchman moves alongside him. Those two clear of the field, and 2 players at 16 under par are British. Aaron Rai, who is playing the 17th at 16 under. Ewan Ferguson is playing the 16th at 16 under.
There's commentary of that on Sports Extra 3. On Sports Extra 2, final seconds of France-Ireland in the Women's World Cup quarter-final. Currently France 18, Ireland 13. The winners of that will join New Zealand and Canada into the semi-finals. So that leaves us with one more last 8 tie to go. England-Scotland, Ashton Gate kicks off in an hour. Maz Faruqi.
And the skies are gloomy overhead and the rain continues to fall, which you imagine will suit England's forwards against the side they haven't lost to in 26 years, Steve. Scotland forced to add forward Christine Bellil into their squad on Monday and straight into the starting 15. Such are the injuries that they are having to contend with. For England, there's a first start of the tournament for fly half Holly Aitchison after she got some minutes in the second half last week as she recovers from injury. The winners of this look likely then to play France, as you say. It would be some story if it wasn't England. We get underway in just under an hour.
Thank you, Maz, and we've got just under a minute until second half commentary from Turf Moor, so we'll do this quickly at the Etihad with John Murray and Dion Dublin. John, Manchester derby, lots of subplots going on all over the place.
Yes, but obviously the news this morning, Ricky Hatton's death has cast a long shadow over the build-up this afternoon to this derby match. And following on from what you were saying with Steve Bunce earlier, we're going to have a stadium full of people here for this match today. It'd be fascinating to know how many of them have rubbed shoulders and had experiences and been thrilled by Ricky Hatton over the years. So yes, as you say, we will have a minute's applause before the match. Manchester City say black armbands are going to be worn, and there'll be an image of Ricky Hatton on the screen on the in the side of the stadium before the match.
You know what, John, I'd safely say tens of thousands, to be honest with you. I think they would have all seen him on the TV. I would imagine nearly half the stadium would have been to watch him fight as well at some stage. Proper Manc, good lad. I've been in his company many times. Huge loss, and sincere condolences from us here at BBC 5 Live to his family.
Yes, absolutely well said, and far more pertinent to do that than start building up to the game itself, which we can do. We'll have plenty of time once we are done at Turf Moor. Second half getting underway. Chris Coles.
Thank you, Steve. Yes, 5 seconds into that second half. And the first point of note to mention in this second period is a change for Liverpool. Connor Bradley is on at right back. Alexis McAllister, who did receive lengthy treatment in the first half after Ugochukwu's yellow-carded challenge, left a little bit on McAllister. So he is off, Bradley is on, which means Dominic Szoboszlai returns to his more familiar centre midfield home alongside Ryan Gravenberch. I'll run you through the two 11s when there is the first opportunity to do so. Liverpool in this second half defending the Jimmy McIlroy stand away to our left-hand side. So they're attacking the old cricket field stand, which houses their supporters all standing in the corner of that particular stand in green from head to toe, with a little bit of faint white trim on the shoulders and down the sides of the shorts. And Burnley attacking from right to left in their claret and blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks. And Liverpool building the first attack of this second half. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. First touches for Bradley, the Northern Irish international. Van Dijk again, and square to Szoboszlai. What sort of impact can he have now in the centre of midfield? Salah, who was quiet in that first half, dinked in the general direction of Weerts, who was just outside the box. That's dealt with by Burnley. Gravenberch picks it up, stationary in the centre of the Burnley half, exchanges passes with Bradley, and Liverpool, as they did in the first half, are settling into their short passing work. Gravenberch assesses his options, plays it square to Robertson. First half change for Kirkes. Now on to Gakpo, worrying Walker. He's away from Walker. Gakpo into the box, he stumbles, and corner, says referee Michael Oliver, and there were no real appeals for a penalty. Leon Osman.
Well, I think Cody Gakpo was appealing. It's the first time in the game that Cody Gakpo has actually tried to go on the outside of Kyle Walker. Caused him all sorts of problems. Kyle Walker gave him a yard, just expecting him to cut back in, and I think there was a moment Gakpo kind of left the ball behind him slightly, and in reaching to do so, Kyle Walker had a nibble. They were both kind of reaching for the ball, made contact with each other. Gakpo lost his footing, but no penalty.
Corner, front post, Hartman heads it high into the Lancashire sky. It'll drop awkwardly inside the box. Foster allows it to bounce. Ekitike battling, all this very close by! And a right foot stinging volley from Gravenberch is only just over the bar. He connected with that beautifully, and only just over.
Well, that's on target. It's not getting saved. That is how well he struck this volley. Just a bit of confusion in there from Burnley by allowing a high ball initially just to bounce. Nobody really went to clear it, and then once you get a header on it from that position, you can't really get any distance from one of those headers. Foster's did well to get onto it, headed towards Gravenberch, and he does catch it. So it did take a deflection, I think, on its way through. Should have been a corner kick.
Yeah, no one appealed for the corner. It just nicked off Laurent on its way through. Dubravka clears downfield for Burnley. Bradley with some neat chest control in Liverpool's right back area, but his ball forward is intercepted by Estev. Szoboszlai picking up the loose pass, now running from right to left. Gakpo, the recipient of a awkward ball to control, Gakpo, and he did with some part of his anatomy. Now heading towards the penalty area, left-hand side, Robertson's delivery, Bradley's header, wide, and only just wide. Did that take a nick on its way through? It did. Burnley, I think, were appealing for offside, but Bradley's header was not too far away, and this is a good start to the second half for Liverpool. Another corner.
Yeah, just looking at it, I mean, it looked like Bradley got on the end of it, but seeing it back, it was Esteve that actually made the header. Good run from Bradley, brilliant ball into him. Fullback to fullback it was, challenging, probably 8 yards out centre a goal, and actually took some really good defender from Esteve to just give away the corner.
Which will be taken by Gakpo, far side the right, in swinger towards the back post. Dubravka surrounded, did really well to get any kind of contact on the punch, but the Liverpool pressure remains. Weerts on the right-hand angle to Salah, turns into Ekdal, who read what Salah was trying to do, and Walker has done that many times in his career. Saw Salah coming, plays it against the Egyptian, and Burnley have this goal kick. 50 minutes played, Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. We can get full time from Sandy Park in the Women's Rugby Union World Cup quarter-final. France-Ireland, Adam Whitty.
And a wait for an Irish Rugby World Cup quarter-final win goes on. France have beaten Ireland to reach the semi-finals, winning 18-13 and coming back from 13-0 down to do so. Escudero and Grise's tries in the second half. Some clutch kicking from Marine Bourgeois has seen the Blues reach their 7th straight semi, holding out a massive Ireland effort at the end. Full-time, France 18, Ireland 13. The Irish hearts are broken, but it is France who will play England or Scotland next week.
And that quarter-final gets underway at 4 o'clock on Sports Extra 2. Adam, thank you very much indeed. Burnley have a throw on the halfway line, right-hand side, which is the far side as we watch. Walker hurls it down the line. Robertson's controlled header. Weerts with a touch in the centre of midfield. Gravenberg bubbles a pass on to Bradley, who has had an impact in the 5 or so minutes he's played since coming on at half-time. Salah's square pass, Boslai's 1-2. The 2 was not quite there, and out of play it goes for a Burnley goal kick, which gives us an opportunity to head to Rugby Park for the first time this afternoon. Kilmarnock Celtic, with Celtic looking to regain top spot in the Scottish Premiership. Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, 11 minutes gone. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0. Celtic looking for that 3 points, which will knock Inform Hearts off the perch at the top of the Premiership. A couple of debuts involved as well. Celtic have Tunisian winger Sebastian Tunetke making his debut. Kelechi Iheanacho is on the bench for Celtic, waiting his chance for a first turnout for Celtic. And as for Kilmarnock, they've had 4 draws out of 4 so far in the league. Usual captain Brad Lyons misses out. Rory McKenzie comes in 0-0 after 12 minutes.
Thank you, Kenny. Hartman's ball forward is too far ahead of Anthony, and Allison, all in black to our left, immediately distributes to find Robertson, and now Weerts, who's having more of an influence in this second half. The German international had a good international break with Germany, getting on the score sheet. Salah on the right-hand side of the box, back to Weerts, infield to Bradley, space to cross, instead goes short. Szoboszlai, tricking his way through several Burnley players, goes to ground and hacked clear by Foster, but noticeable, Leon, that Liverpool are moving the ball a lot quicker than they did in the first half. Yeah, and when they get into good positions, like getting down this right-hand side, they're actually trying to penetrate. They're not just using it as a way to stretch play and going back the other side and taking their time. They really aren't trying to overload in these wide areas each time, trying to make sharp passes, and so far it's pushing Burnley back. Gakpo causing problems for Walker on that far side. Infield it goes via Robertson to Van Dijk, and back to the Scottish left-back again. His ball in is good. Ekitike had space inside the penalty area, but that space afforded to him because he shoved Esteve to the ground, and Burnley have this free kick inside their own penalty area, which finally, with 7 minutes of the second half played, gives me a chance to run you through the two sides, such has been the frenetic start to the second half at Turf Moor. We've not had an opportunity to do so. Dubravka, the Burnley goalkeeper, Walker, Ekdal, Esteve, Hartman. The back 4, which sometimes turns into a back 5, with Josh Laurent slotting in, Cullen, Ogachukwu, Chowner, Anthony and Foster, with the Liverpool lineup, which has changed a bit since we started at 2 o'clock, with those 2 changes. Kirkes off in the first half for Robertson, and more recently Bradley on the field in place of McAllister. So Allison, the goalkeeper, now Bradley, Van Dijk, Konate and Robertson, with Szoboszlai and Gravenberg. And then the familiar front four, as it has been this season: Salah, Wirtz, Gakpo, Ekitike. 53 minutes in, 5 Live, BBC Sounds. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Kanate ambling forward at no great pace. Wirtz, give and go with Szoboszlai on the edge of the Burnley penalty area. Salah, you feel Liverpool will need to involve him much more than they did in the first period if they are to break through this resilient Burnley back line. The long sleeve Szoboszlai, now Salah has space into the penalty area. Wirtz chips it back to the rushing Salah, cleared by Burnley, and it might be more than that. Here goes Jadon Anthony striding over the halfway line. Only Chauner in support. It goes to Chauner, who got the wrong side of Robertson and Van Dijk, and for a split second it looked like he was through on goal, but Alisson there in the nick of time for Liverpool.
Yeah, showed some really good pace there, Chauner, just to not only come from probably about 10 yards behind Anthony, actually go past him and give him an option to move forward. And Anthony has been the outlet for Burnley today. He's been the one trying to break forward into that right back slot of Liverpool as they vacate it. Only an inch away from getting in there.
Here come Liverpool again. Wirtz drops the shoulder. He's into the penalty area trying to find an angle to shoot, and the shot came a couple of yards wide in the end. And that's really the first time in this game we've seen Florian Wirtz with a little bit of space inside the Burnley penalty area. Didn't really get the connection on his right foot shot.
Well, never really wrapped his foot around it to try and bring it back towards that far post. But initiating the space was what we actually expect from him. He dropped the shoulder probably 3 times and dropped 5 Burnley players to the floor. You know, he twisted, he turned, he looked exceptional in that moment, but never troubled Dubravka with the all-important piece of it. So, yeah, much better from Wirtz. They'll want to see him on the ball in those positions more.
Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. I meant to mention this just as we got underway in the second half, but such was the start to the second 45. There wasn't an opportunity to do so. There will be a couple of records that will go one way or another today, and that is either Burnley's unbeaten record at home, which stands at 24 league games. Scott Parker yet to lose at Turf Moor, as Szoboszlai comes forward on the right hand side, and his cross-come shot is easily saved by Dubravka. And the other statistic worth mentioning is Liverpool's goal-scoring record. They have scored in their last 37 Premier League games. It's the club's longest run in Premier League or league history, but that is in jeopardy with 56 minutes played. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Still a long way to go, but that'll be worth keeping an eye on.
Yes, it will. And I think Liverpool, although it's 0-0 at the moment and every point is important, will identify this as a game they expect to win. I think I've seen that with their intent in the second half, with bodies getting forward with quicker play. But in doing so, that may give Burnley more opportunities than they've had on the counter-attack.
Bradley's loose header and Anthony to Hartman, but such was the pace Hartman was arriving at. He got the touch to get away from his man, but it took him straight out of play, and Liverpool have a goal kick. So Manchester City, Manchester United, the Manchester derby to come on 5 Live at 4:30. We'll be getting full team news in a moment, but Donnarumma does start for Manchester City. The former Paris Saint-Germain goalkeeper, a Champions League winner, making that high-profile move to the Etihad Stadium, gets his full debut today. Will be across to John Murray in due course to fill in the rest of the team news from the Manchester derby, which follows us. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Gravenberch, centre of the Burnley half, orchestrating events in front of him. A little bit static though for him, and the ball almost stopped stationary as Wirtz drops the shoulder. Now Ekitike trying to find space to shoot. He does eventually. It ricochets to Szoboszlai. His shot blocked at source. Ekitike in there again, and flying Esteve, or rather Cullen, hurls himself in the line of duty, and Burnley can clear to safety. But for all of Liverpool's attacking, it's coupled now with a little more Burnley desperation, and it feels a little early in the piece for that for Burnley.
Yeah, good defending, actually getting bodies in the way, but as you say, it just seems a little bit last ditch at the moment. Liverpool are starting to go quicker, move the ball quicker, trust themselves in going 1v1 inside the penalty area, where Burnley find it difficult to stick out a leg, and at the moment you've even got Foster defending literally 2 yards outside his penalty area. There's so many players Burnley getting behind the ball.
Szoboszlai from range hits that really well and forces a good save from Dubravka. Dominik Szoboszlai is demonstrating all his long-range abilities in the last few weeks. That free kick against Arsenal, we saw a shot in the first half that wasn't far over, and that was really well hit and really well saved.
Well, there's not many people, you have to, as a co-commentator, be quiet very quickly when they're 40 yards from goal, but Szoboszlai is one of them.
Yeah.
And as that ball came to him, you knew he had the ability to strike it with such ferocity towards the goal, and although it wasn't in the top corner, it still was a hell of a save from Dubravka.
Another Liverpool corner. This one is very deep and too deep from Gakpo, who throws his arms up in despair. He didn't hit that as well as he would have wanted, and Burnley have this goal kick. To Goodison Park we go. How good to see Goodison Park still in operation. It's half-time in the WSL between Everton's women and Tottenham. Shojo Saka.
Everton 0, Tottenham 1 at half-time. The goal for Spurs coming just before the half-hour when Kathinka Tandberg set up Olga Artinen to prod home. Tandberg and Bethany England both missed chances to make it 2 for Tottenham. Everton have been pretty poor. Ornella Vignola has had a shot blocked in added time, and that's been it for Everton, really. Everton 0, Tottenham 1 at half-time.
Thank you, Shojo. Not too many grounds where you go to in the Premier League, especially these days, where you are right in the heart of the community with views of terraced housing and rooftops and chimneys. Goodison Park is definitely one of those, and it's good to see it still being used. And Turf Moor likewise. The wind still very prominent, the flag still waving on the Bob Lord stand. Liverpool wave after wave of green attack in the last few minutes. Gakpo's left-footed ball into the box. Hartman heads unconvincingly away. In fact, it went backwards, and Walker with chest control to try and find Dubravka. Doesn't get that right, but the ball was out of play, and rather than Liverpool continuing their attack, they have a corner instead.
On 2 occasions, Gakpo's got the ball 1v1 with Walker and chose to go on the outside and actually got a little bit of joy.
Corner taken short. Szoboszlai outside of the right foot. Ball into the penalty area. Estev heads it away. Salah now has it on the right-hand edge. His little dink to the back post. Several heads go up, and the crucial head in the end was Robertson's, who was between Ekitike and I think Verts there. Again, didn't really get much on it, and out of play it goes for a goal kick.
Yeah, but they are pushing Liverpool at the moment. Burnley, every player back inside their penalty area. Liverpool just keeping them pinned back in. That does allow Liverpool, I know it was from a corner kick, but to just put even more bodies in the penalty area. Konate went at it, Van Dijk went at it, but it was Robertson who actually got his head to it, and I feel he'll be a little bit disappointed he didn't at least hit the target with that effort.
An hour gone at Turf Moor. Still we wait for the first goal of the game. 5 Live and also available on the BBC Sounds app, as is plenty of live sport. The Rugby Union, the Women's Rugby Union World Cup on Sports Extra 2 shortly. England-Scotland. Gakpo into the penalty area, drops it back. Is this Verts' moment? Right foot shot blocked by
brilliant block.
Cullen, who's done that a couple of times, hasn't he?
Brilliant block, but I'm just looking, and the pressure they've been under. 61 minutes in. Oh, here we go. Actually, I was about to say, I'm on that Burnley pitch. I'm thinking we've been pinned back for so long now. We need a little bit of help. We're not able to get out on our own. I'm not sure where we're getting it from. I'm not sure what the manager can do. Well, here's the answer.
Yeah, we are going to see a debut for Florentino Luis, the Benfica loanee signed on deadline day. Defensive midfielder. Loon Chowner's game is over, and so too is Josh Cullen. So a couple of changes. Hannibal is on, the former Manchester United attacking midfielder, and Florentino Luis, who goes by Florentino, the number 16, on for his Burnley debut. What impact can he have on this Burnley side? They're watching Liverpool build again. Szoboszlai in the heart of midfield. He's going to go for it again, is he? No, drops the shoulder. Infield to Gravenberch, rather. And now backwards of square to Konate. We saw plenty of this in the first half for Liverpool, waiting for gaps to appear. Salah onto his left foot, a long way out from goal. Square, Gravenberch, referee has to get out of the way, and he just put Szoboszlai off there, did Michael Oliver, and it allowed Hannibal to nip in very quickly. He goes down under pressure from Szoboszlai, and Burnley have this free kick. So a double Burnley change, Leon. Hannibal in our first look at Florentino.
Yeah, well, he comes with a good reputation. Florentino has done a Benfica the last few seasons. It's never easy just to come in and fit into the Premier League as you would like, and this is certainly a big occasion. He's a good stature. Looks like he could get about the pitch pretty well. physicality. It shouldn't be lacking, so I'll give him an opportunity, and they need him to hit the ground running, him and Hannibal in this, 27 minutes to go.
Yeah, he's a presence in that midfield, Florentino, in what is now a very stockily built midfield with the tall Leslie Ugochukwu alongside Florentino. Here goes Bradley, the nutmeg on Esteve, the rampaging Salah, right-footed ball in that Dubravka was concerned about for a minute. The apology from Salah, because it wasn't a shot, it was definitely a cross to the back post, but he didn't hit it well enough.
It's been that kind of afternoon so far for Salah. I think I have said that before, and he's popped up and probably scored 2 or 3 goals after I've said it, but things haven't gone where he's intended to. He's been a little bit sloppy from both sides of the field with both feet this occasion, trying to play a pass in with his right foot that causes Dubravka, it's a cross, and it causes Dubravka a couple of problems. So I think that shows where he ended up hitting that pass. He's just been a little bit off it today, Salah.
Dubravka's goal kick, Bradley in Liverpool's right back area wins the ball. Canate, bit of head tennis breaks out between Wirtz in green and Anthony in claret and blue. Canate gets his foot on the ball and finds Gravenberch near side the right. Anthony in the way of that. Liverpool have a throw in their right back position. 25 minutes to play at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Once we're done here, it's the Manchester derby. Team news from the Etihad comes from John Murray.
Yes, and after losing their last 2, Pep Guardiola's made 6 changes, and that includes, as you've heard, Gianluigi Donnarumma making his debut. That's the headline, but Guardiola's in the team for his first appearance of the season. Phil Foden and O'Reilly are in for their first starts of the season, and among the substitutes are James Trafford and Savinho, no John Stones. For Manchester United, Benjamin Sesko finally gets his first Premier League start with Cunha and Mount out injured. 4 changes for them, including first league starts of the season for Mazraoui and Ugarte in the midfield. Dorgu's also back in, and United's new goalkeeper Sene Lammens is a substitute, just like Casemiro.
Robertson, ball into the penalty area. Dubravka punches away. John, thank you. Dion Dublin alongside John Murray for full commentary from the Etihad Stadium. City against United, the Manchester derby to follow. Gravenberch, space, right foot shot deflected, got a couple of touches, very nearly fell to Gakpo, who was the closest Liverpool player to it. In the end, it was Esteve who was in the right place at the right time just to marshal the ball safely back to Dubravka.
Yeah, well, I think Burnley will be encouraged by that. Liverpool had been putting Burnley under huge pressure, pushing them back, certainly down the sides of the penalty area, getting in behind the defence. But I think if you've got a team like Liverpool shooting from 35 yards plus, I think when you're up against that kind of quality, you'll take that if you can just make sure it's under a little bit of pressure, and that's what happened there. Gravenberch shot from 35 yards under pressure, never made contact how he'd like to, and easy one for Dubravka.
Liverpool probing again. Gakpo to Robertson, who's inside the box. His cross was dug out from a difficult position. Szoboszlai's volley broke to him very nicely and unsurprisingly hit it well, but there's a wall of claret and blue to try and penetrate, and Liverpool are just not able to do it thus far. Bradley challenged by Ugochukwu. Anthony is the outlet here, and Burnley's record signing does really well to find Jadon Anthony, who's got Lyle Foster with him. Oh, the ball is just behind Foster. You could hear the groans from the Burnley fans. Had that ball been more accurately hit, there may have been a chance for Burnley, but they've won it back due to their persistence in midfield. Anthony going the long way round several Liverpool players. He eventually runs into one too many, and Liverpool win the ball back. It's those little moments that just keep us on the edge of our seats, Leon. Burnley are offering something on the counter-attack from time to time.
Yeah, and the opportunity to make the right pass was there. He had to play it in behind.
Salah infield to Wirtz, penalty area, Szoboszlai waits, Gakpo used instead on the edge. Burnley closing down the space at every single opportunity, and as such the pace of what looked a good attack has slowed once again. Szoboszlai on the angle into Hartman, throw to Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool continuing to press, but at the other end Burnley then opportunity to really create the opening goal of the game, and Anthony breaks forward well, but every time he's got support. I think it was Foster on this occasion, and he made the run in behind Van Dijk. I don't know whether he intended to pull it behind everybody and play it to feet, but Foster had made the run in behind. It was just a really poor chance and a big opportunity missed to make the goal for Burnley.
Still Liverpool patiently probe. Wirtz and Salah inside the penalty area. Round of applause from Salah in the direction of Wirtz. That was very cleverly worked. I think Wirtz actually had more space than he realised.
Didn't need the extra pass, did it? I think everybody went with the Mo Salah run. Everybody left Wirtz probably 5 yards of space in the middle of the penalty area, and that's huge at this level. 5 yards for somebody like him. So if he could have just taken the touch himself, the opportunity was there to turn and hit it.
He leads the statistics in so many off-the-ball records as Wirtz. Most off-ball runs into the final third, runs ahead of the ball. You can see because you look up and he's one side of the penalty area, then a few seconds later he's on the other side, knitting everything together for Liverpool. He's on the ball again, just inside the box. It's all very intricate for Liverpool, and if they are to break through this Burnley back line, it'll be one of those intricate passes you fancy will come off. It'll be that or a Szoboszlai rocket. They have been the two main sources of danger for Liverpool, but Burnley have defended ever so well. A solid bank of 5, a solid bank of 4 in front of those 5, and the tireless Lyle Foster. And they have put in so much work and effort with 20 minutes to play on 5 Live. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Konate base of the centre circle inside the Burnley half. Over the head of Hannibal it goes, and now Robertson to Ekitike. Again, not where he really wants to be, way out of any dangerous position as far as Liverpool are concerned. He's almost playing at left back. Infield to Gravenberch. Ekitike now trots into a centre forward position. Gravenberch to Konate. Walking pace again for Liverpool. Konate edging ever closer to the penalty area. Salah on this near side, the right, really starved of any sort of space. The usual Salah artistry has not been on display this afternoon. Van Dijk with a smooth pass to that left-hand side. Gakpo collects. He's looked dangerous. Ball to the back post. Salah rises and heads back into a dangerous position. Burnley clear once again. Gravenberch picks up the pieces. Can Burnley keep this going for the 20 minutes of normal time that remains? Liverpool still very patiently moving forward. Konate's loopy ball to the back post, that is headed away, but at the moment, Leon, every single second ball dropping to a green shirt, and that must be tiring Burnley out.
Yeah, it is, and you can't help but getting deeper and deeper. You start to overcover. Liverpool are moving further forward. They look, yes, in control of the game. They're not quite desperate for the opening goal, but they are starting to realise that time is running out. Right at that moment where Burnley are probably looking at the clock and thinking, God, I wish there was 80 minutes, not 70. Liverpool are probably thinking the other way around. They wish there was 60 minutes, not 70 as well, because at the moment things aren't going their way. They're not able to create that clear-cut opportunity.
Hugo Ekitike's game is over, and Federico Chiesa, the Italian striker, is coming on to replace him. No Alexander Isak in the squad for Arne Slot, so Federico Chiesa is on the field in place of Ekitike. Because the ball hit the referee a couple of moments ago, it's a drop ball in Liverpool's favour, and they get on with it quickly. Bradley to Konate, heading up to Kilmarnock in a couple of moments for an update from the Scottish Premiership, but we'll see what happens with this latest Liverpool attack. Konate and Gakpo exchange passes, and Van Dijk keeps the move going from right to left. Robertson looking for movement in front of him. Here is Wirtz, who is very wide on that left-hand side. Robertson angled to cross, and it's a good one too, and Chiesa's header is wide. Well, that would have been an impact, and by the look of his face, he knows he should have done better.
I was just about to not question the substitution, but just say I was probably a bit surprised that you take one of your most expensive signings, number 9, right through the middle. You take him off when you're desperate for a goal and replace him with Chiesa, but the way he found space in between those 3 centre-backs as that cross came in was really good. He just couldn't quite convert it goalwards, and he's frustrated by that. He thinks that's a big chance.
It was a decent opportunity. Konate shoves Foster following the Dubravka goal kick, and this will be a free kick to Burnley and an opportunity to pile players forward, and I don't think they will be rushing over this because they've had to do an awful lot of defending. So while the players slowly make their way forward, we can head back to Rugby Park, Kilmarnock Celtic. Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, we're 33 minutes have been played, and it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0, so the hosts keeping the champions at bay. One thing to point out is that we do now have a full complement of away fans in that away stand. Half of them had chosen to stay out until the 12th minute in a form of protest against a lack of transfer activity and a lack of Champions League qualification. Far from happy are the Celtic fan base, but they're all in the stand now, and the noise is fairly loud from them. It's still Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 0.
Thank you, Kenny. Yes, Glasgow football is not particularly happy at the moment, is it, with Russell Martin under huge pressure at Rangers after another defeat at home to Hearts, and Celtic fans not overly happy at Rugby Park. That free kick for Burnley came to nothing in the end. It was headed away and then volleyed back into the danger area, but Anthony was offside. So Burnley rather waste that situation, a situation that you feel they really have to profit from if they are to get a win, which not many would have fancied, but they're close now to what would be an excellent point. They've got 16 minutes to play. Here's Robertson with the ball into the back post. Salah battling with Hartman. The ball has a little bit too much height and pace on it, so Salah has to trot to this near side, the right, to retrieve Szoboszlai space. Left foot shot wide by a couple of yards, but we've already seen in this game that Burnley can ill afford to give Dominic Szoboszlai too much space, but that left foot shot a couple of yards wide on that occasion.
Yeah, you can see he certainly doesn't lack power on the left foot, maybe just a touch of the accuracy that he has when he's hitting it with his right foot. But again, Liverpool moving the ball to the side, couple of quick passes, and then quick with the transition into the middle to try and get it to someone like Szoboszlai, and in doing so suddenly there are little openings starting to appear in this what has been a very stubborn Burnley defence. But I think once you get to the 75th minute, that tiredness just starts to creep in, the decision making, the ability to move those 2 or 3 yards across to stop those spaces.
A reminder, Burnley 24 league home games unbeaten. Scott Parker yet to lose. Liverpool 37 Premier League games in a row they found the net. Yellow card given to Ryan Gravenberch for a foul on Hannibal just outside the penalty area, and or rather Anthony, who's in a heap on the floor. And this is another opportunity for Burnley to pump a long ball into the Liverpool box.
Just like in the first half, I think that, you know, the one on McAllister, I think when you go to make a tackle and you make contact with the player as well, the referee's always going to make a decision that it's a free kick. I think Kyle Walker and they're calling the medical staff on to Anthony. I think they think it's more serious than maybe we first thought, but the referee saw it in that way, delayed in his decision.
It was Conor Bradley with the challenge, so he is the recipient of a yellow card, and Anthony needs some treatment. And you're right, the medical staff were very slow to come on. I know they have to wait for permission from the referee, but Kyle Walker and Quincy Hartman among 3 Burnley players that were gesticulating wildly to the bench to get some treatment for Anthony, who looks okay. He's sitting up, he's just looking at his left ankle.
I think as well though, I think, you know, it's on the very far side of the pitch and it's raining. I'm not sure they wanted to come all the way across unless it was completely necessary. Yeah. I'm sure they're weighing up the decision.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't know if Anthony's got a stud, maybe like a puncher. I think he was trying to show. I think they tried to zoom up on a camera. I don't know if he's got a little stud puncher in on his shin there. I've certainly made certainly contact there from Conor Bradley. I can understand it was very similar to the one in the first half on McAllister. He's been consistent with that. Michael Oliver.
Yes, Jadon Anthony presenting the evidence, and that was a hole in his sock. We saw that yesterday at the London Stadium, didn't we, when Thomas Souček was sent off for a challenge on João Paulinho, and there was a huge gash in João Paulinia's sock. And fortunately the shin pad just behind offered the protection for Paulinho. It's not quite that bad for Anthony, and I think he will be okay. But this is wasting some good time for Burnley, who have been on the back foot for the majority of this second half, which is of no real surprise. But these are the moments I'm sure Scott Parker would have discussed with his side in the various pre-match meetings in the days leading up to this. Take advantage of the set pieces, and this is tight to the touchline, left-hand side. Hartman delivers, not with great quality though. Headed away by Gravenberch on the edge of the penalty area. Still an opportunity for Burnley to keep the pressure on. Walker from a very defensive position sweeps it deep towards Hannibal, who will keep this in play, but his momentum just takes him out. Bradley knew that had Hannibal controlled that, he was always likely to run it out of play. That's what happened. Liverpool goal kick, 0-0, 12 minutes to play.
Yeah, waste that. You mentioned when you get into those positions, you want a bit of quality. You want your centre-halves, your centre-forward that are in that area to have something to go and actually attack, but poor ball played behind everybody. And Burnley never really took control of the ball again, and now have to retreat all the way to what, 20, 30 yards from their goal. Everybody behind the ball as Liverpool attack.
Here we go again. Salah and Wirtz combine on the edge of the Burnley penalty area. It's great harrying and hustling from Florentino, the new signing from Benfica. Now Gakpo clips the ball in with his right foot, headed away once again. How many times have we said that? Esteve, Ekdal, they've stood up to everything Liverpool have thrown their way. That's a good header back into Chiesa, who can't quite control, and Ogachukwu lumps the ball upfield. We're not quite in anywhere will do territory in time, but was a little hurried from Ogachukwu, and Liverpool can come forward threateningly again. Konate sidles forward, finds his centre-back colleague Van Dijk, who is right in the middle of the Burnley half. Gets it back from Gravenberch. There's space on the left for Gakpo, who's calling for it, but he's ignored. Gravenberch instead looking right, where there is a lot of traffic to get through. Konate to Gravenberch, edging towards the edge of the Burnley box, central position, right foot shot, cannons off a Burnley man, and that's out of play for a Liverpool corner.
I haven't seen him do much in possession so far, Florentino, but off the ball he's been excellent. He really has. He's got to players, he's actually made contact, he's won the ball back. A really good block there. That's not the first one he's done so far.
Florian Wirtz over this Liverpool corner, outswinger with his right foot, headed goalwards by Gakpo, but that'll float harmlessly into the hands of Dubravka, and Burnley survive another Liverpool set piece. The last time we were with Shojo Saka at Goodison Park, Spurs were leading by a 1-0. There's been another goal, Shojo.
Everton 0, Tottenham 2. Katinka Tanberg with a spectacular first goal in Tottenham colours. Everton lost the ball near the halfway line, around the centre circle, came to Tanberg, and she lobbed the keeper from 40 yards out, hung in the air for ages, straight into the net. Everton 0, Tottenham 2.
Sounds quite a goal, that. Thank you, Shojo. You'll be able to see it on Bradley forward into the penalty area. Just hesitated there. It looked like Bradley was about to pull the trigger with his left foot. The Women's Football Show tonight, 11:25. And before that, match of the day, Kelly Cates with Danny Murphy and Theo Walcott for highlights from this game and the Manchester derby to come, which kicks off in 50 minutes time on 5 Live, BBC Sounds, City United. Burnley making good progress up this near side, the left, Hensley on the rise in atmosphere. The fans can sense that they are 10 minutes away from what would be a really good result.
Yeah, and they're going to need more of that, what we just saw from Jadon Anthony, picking the ball up, 10 yards outside of his own box and driving forward, driving into Liverpool's half, protecting it. Yes, he didn't have enough support to create an attack this time, but didn't lose it. Won his team a throw-in inside the Liverpool half, and now, what are we, another 20, 30 seconds later, and they're still inside Liverpool's half.
The only goalless draw in the last 48 league meetings, way back in 1975 in the old Division 1, a 0-0 here at Turf Moor. Liverpool protecting this excellent goal-scoring form. They've found the net in their last 37 Premier League games. Burnley, whose promotion last season was built on excellent defensive foundations, they conceded just 16 goals in their 46 Championship games, and they are demonstrating just how difficult they are to break through again this afternoon. They have played extremely well, but there is still time for Liverpool. Salah to Van Dijk, whose cushioned header finds Robertson, who has plenty of green grass to frolic into. Szoboszlai on to Gakpo. Pass was a little bit short, and Gakpo just lost the momentum trying to retrieve possession for Liverpool, but he's done so now and finds Robertson to Van Dijk. Vivid colours down below as the grey cloud continues to dominate Turf Moor, and indeed Burnley, which we can see beyond the Bob Lord stand roof. The electronic hoardings and scoreboard very, very bright in the darkening skies. Szoboszlai infield, Wirtz just inside the penalty area, starved of any kind of room in which to demonstrate his skill. Szoboszlai, walking pace, left-hand angle of the penalty area. Liverpool have done this quite often, and then suddenly there's the injection of pace to worry the Burnley back line. Wirtz this way and that against Florentino, who wins the ball expertly from the German international. Now Hannibal has to demonstrate some strength and wins his side a throw in Burnley's right back position. And Scott Parker will be thrilled with what he's seeing so far from his side. Liverpool just have had no space in which to operate, and when the ball has come into the box, more often than not, it's been headed away.
Yes, he'll certainly be happy up to this stage, but how many times have you seen the champions, Liverpool in particular, going into these latter stages and somehow, whether they deserve it or not, figuring out a way to win football matches, and that's what the top teams do. And Burnley need to keep their concentration levels high.
Double change being prepared by Arne Slot on that far side. I think I can see Jeremy Frimpong in the gloom over there, about to come on, back in the team, or back in the squad for Liverpool following injury. Wirtz is fouled by Gochukwu right on the edge of the penalty area, and he's already been booked, and if Michael Oliver brandishes a yellow, the red is to follow. And there is a twist in this game with 6 minutes to play. Burnley are down to 10. Leslie Gochukwu, a second yellow card, felling Wirtz on the edge of the penalty area. And Burnley's task now gets a little bit tougher with 6 minutes to play. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0, but Gochukwu sees red.
Well, he had to think about it, Michael Oliver. He gave himself a bit of time to do so. It was a wonderful turn from Wirtz, just getting himself into that pocket behind Gochukwu. And then there was panic from the Burnley midfielder. He decided to go to ground, didn't quite make contact with the ball, and brought Wirtz to the ground. Certainly a free kick. I'm not surprised he brought the yellow card out. Maybe he could have gave him a warning. I'm not surprised that he did actually brandish the yellow card. I've certainly seen yellow cards given for a lot worse, and that does change things. Suddenly there's a big hole because he's been playing well. Gochukwu's got about the pitch, he's made good tackles, he's been a vital cog in this Burnley defensive unit.
So they'll now follow a smattering of substitutions. I think Scott Parker was considering a different change to the one that he might have to make now. Indeed, Lyle Foster is being withdrawn and Joe Worrell is coming on, so that's centre back for centre forward, and you can hear the adulation directed the South Africans' way. He has had zero impact up front, but that's not what the applause is for. He has worked so hard for his side, and the Burnley faithful appreciate his work, which is over now. And Joe Worrell, the former Nottingham Forest centre-back, comes on for his third appearance of the season. He's utilised mainly from the bench, and there will be another Burnley change coming as well, and 2 Liverpool players preparing to come on. But I think that might be that for now in terms of changes.
Yeah, I think Armando Broja was going to come on for Foster before that red card. Has just made Scott Parker have a little rethink, take a centre forward off for a defender. Maybe that means that Laurens will be able to step forward into midfield if Worrell is going to go, as you'd expect, into that back three. But more importantly, Liverpool have got a free kick in a very dangerous position, probably 7-8 yards outside the goal. Szoboszlai and Salah stood over it.
Perfect for the left footer, or will it be Szoboszlai? It is, and it's over the bar. It wasn't quite Arsenal Mark II. You can see why Salah was happy to leave it for Szoboszlai, but in the end over the crossbar, and actually fair way over as well.
Yeah, but the last one he hit, owing to Arsenal, not surprised to see Szoboszlai take it. I think he hit it pretty similar to that. It's just, I think this free kick was probably about 6 or 7 yards closer to goal, which meant that this free kick never came back down in time. He hit it just the same.
So Jeremy Frimpong is on the field to replace Konate, and we will see Rio Ngamoa again, the youngster who shot to prominence with that dramatic late winner at St James's Park against Newcastle when he was 16. 17 years old now, but he's still Liverpool's youngest ever goal scorer. That really well taken goal to win the game against Newcastle, and he's on the field to try and win the game for Liverpool at Turf Moor. 87 minutes. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Burnley though down to 10 men. Bradley for Liverpool. Now Frimpong, who had a bright start to his Liverpool career, scoring in the Community Shield, but was taken off in the opening game against Bournemouth with injury. Back now, Szoboszlai to Robertson, who crosses into the box. Worrell heads away and booted further clear by Hartman. Now Salah on the edge of the box, lifted in towards Gakpo, over his head, too far ahead of Ngamoa. Burnley goal kick. Wirtz, by the way, was the other player to come off for Liverpool. So Frimpong and Ngamoa on, Konate and Wirtz off, and here comes that Armando Broja change. Leon And Jayden Anthony's game is over. So Breuer for Anthony is the Burnley change.
Yeah, he certainly worked ever so hard today, Anthony. And Michael Oliver is just running over to him because he's playing on the far side of the pitch from where the substitution takes place. He could quite easily have gone off down below us, and as you'd expect, just to try and waste as much time as possible, he's chosen to go off on the far side. Michael Oliver over to have a word with him, tell him no hanging around. Oh yeah, he's probably come the closest today, Anthony's probably been Burnley's biggest avenue for creating opportunities.
He's had a good start to the season, has Jayden Anthony. Has played a part in 3 of Burnley's 4 Premier League goals this season, but just like Lyle Foster, it was his defensive attributes that Burnley needed today. And on comes Armando Breuer for his Burnley Premier League debut. His 5th different club in the Premier League behind Chelsea, Everton, Fulham and Southampton. And we'll see what impact he can have. We are into the final minute. There will be, you fancy, a fair amount of stoppage time to play at the end of this game. We've had a flurry of substitutions. We've had the red card for Leslie Ogachukwu, Burnley playing with 10 players. So you fancy there will be a fair old schlep at the end. Here's Szoboszlai. Loose pass from Robertson, and Szoboszlai couldn't get on the end of it. Bradley on halfway, and now Frimpong hugging the touchline near side the right. Liverpool going from left to right. Frimpong, red-booted, 30 on his back, long hair bouncing behind him. Gravenberch to Szoboszlai. They keep the move going from right to left. Here is Ungamoa against Walker. Mismatch in age there. Ungamoa 1-2 with Chiesa, but Burnley very quick to step out of defence. All eyes on the 4th official, who indicates 5 minutes of added on time. 5 minutes, we're into it now. Frimpong back to Salah on the edge. Salah's ball in, cleared by Esteve. Do Burnley have it in them to hold out for another 4 and a bit minutes? The crowd are right behind them. Szoboszlai slowly coming forward. Ungamoa on that far side, the left. Listen to the Turf Moor faithful. Bradley to Salah. Edge of the penalty area. Salah coming in field. Chiesa, fine ball. Bradley had space, but the ball just a little too far in front of him. Frimpong on the edge of the box. He chips it in. Gakpo's header was away from any green-shirted player, but Burnley have so many players behind the ball, Leon, they're unable to get out of their own back four.
And so many centrally as well, but that was nearly the pass that was going to undo this stubborn Burnley defence. Chiesa around the corner to Bradley, just couldn't quite bring it in, but they attack again.
Here goes Ungamoa again, 17-year-old against 35-year-old Kyle Walker. Robertson lifted in, Gakpo's header has no pace. Dubravka makes a comfortable save to his right. And 1 minute 10 seconds of the 5 added on have been negotiated by Burnley. Burnley 0, Liverpool 0. Dubravka clears downfield. Breuer will challenge with Van Dijk, who finds Robertson. His forward header straight onto the foot of Josh Laurent, who, like Florian Wirtz, has been all over the pitch for Burnley. Started the game in the centre of the Burnley back line, and now he's in the centre of midfield. He thinks that should be a Burnley throw. He drops to his knees in anguish as the assistant referee's flag points in the opposite direction. Van Dijk to Bradley. As the floodlights begin to take effect at a gloomy Turf Moor, we can just about make out the shadows of the players. Gravenberch forward to Robertson, and now Ungamoa again to have another little look at Kyle Walker. He's into the box, he's making good progress. Low ball to Frimpong at the back post. Frimpong drives. Dubravka saves at the front post. Another opening for Liverpool. They're falling to the right backs at the moment. Frimpong with the latest, Dubravka with a good save.
Yeah, that comes down to overloading. Liverpool with that extra man, forcing Burnley just to keep going tight for tight and man for man in the middle of the pitch. Just allowed that pass from Ungamoa to Frimpong. Nearly both substitutes combining for the opening goal to break the deadlock, but good save from Dubravka.
Robertson, corner, left-footed in-swinger. It's an awful corner, easily cleared at the front post by Hartman, who jogs out with the look of a man who has put in a real shift. That was a tired old jog out from Hartman. He and his colleagues will be feeling it, but they are so close to an excellent result. Liverpool continue. Is that handball at Hannibal? It is! It's a penalty for Liverpool! In the 93rd minute of the game, Hannibal closes down the cross with his arms outstretched. He knew immediately. He puts his head in his hands. Michael Oliver points to the spot. And Liverpool have the chance to win the game with 2 minutes of stoppage time to play.
Oh, he's devastated, as are Burnley to a man, as are this entire crowd here at Burnley. He can have no complaints either. Hannibal, he's just stood about, inches inside the penalty area, but he's clear on the corner of the markings of the penalty area. He is inside. And Frimpong's just trying to bend the ball around him. He turns his body, sort of turns his back to it, but his elbow was away from his body. His arm is slightly outstretched. It hits the elbow. There's nothing, certainly not intentional. Michael Oliver's made the right decision. It is a penalty kick. Nobody in a Burnley shirt complained about it. Heads in hands from everybody, including Scott Parker. They have worked so hard. They have tactically been so good defensively, and yet could all be undone in a cruel twist of a handball in the dying embers of the game.
Mo Salah ready for Liverpool in the final minute of stoppage time. The Premier League champions have been held so far. Is this the moment for Salah? Inevitably it is. And isn't that just what Premier League champions do? Far from their best, but they are going to win the game. They scored late against Newcastle. They've scored late against Burnley. Salah into the top corner. It's devastating for Burnley. But Liverpool are going to win this game and make it 4 wins from 4. Burnley 0, Liverpool 1.
Well, that's what you say. You say Premier League champions figure out a way of winning games. Top teams figure out a way of winning football matches. Top players may not feel like they've been involved for, 94 minutes of the game. It's certainly far from one of Salah's best games, but he is the name on the score sheet to be the difference today here at Turf Moor. Agonising for Burnley. They've worked so hard. Cruel, maybe undeserved, maybe they did deserve a point. You don't always get what you deserve in football. Liverpool have kept going, kept pushing, believed in themselves, and that penalty kick looks like it's got them all 3 points.
It's a terrific penalty from Salah, high into the top corner, right in front of the Liverpool fans, who must have thought for large parts of this game it would turn into one of those games where they dominate possession but can't break through until that moment. Frimpong's cross, clear handball, no complaints. Hannibal knew immediately it wouldn't have taken VAR long to clear it. Salah puts the penalty into the top corner, and it's the Liverpool fans you can hear jumping up and down in the old cricket field stand away to our right, and Burnley, who have put so much into this game, look like they are on the verge of defeat and losing that long unbeaten home league record in the cruelest of fashions. Liverpool have dominated, there's no doubt only one team have attacked, but such has been Burnley's defiance, it feels cruel. Liverpool win, they are back on top of the Premier League. The reigning champions have gone 4 from 4. That's just the 3rd time they've done it in the Premier League era. The last 2 times they've gone on to lift the title, but they had to work so hard for this. Burnley defended for their lives, and they were seconds away from what would have been an excellent point until that moment at the end. Hannibal's handball, Salah's penalty, Liverpool win, and Leon Osman, it's 4 from 4, and worrying for everyone else that Liverpool, even though they're far from their best, and with £125 million worth of talent to add up front, they're still winning games of football.
Yeah, I think when you look, people are just going to see the scoreline here today, just tune in, see that Liverpool won this game 1-0. I think it'll probably seem straightforward. It'll seem like, it was expected. Liverpool probably were comfortable, but they weren't. They were decent in possession. I didn't think they moved the ball quick enough. Burnley tireless in their defensive structure, in their desire, in their hunger to try and get over the line. They probably deserved a draw in this game, Burnley. But as I said before, you don't always get what you deserve. Liverpool have the ability, don't they? They have the belief that they'll just keep on probing, keep on putting the ball into certain areas. Something will happen for us. We've got enough quality. There was a substitute Frimpong that come on and just tried to bend the ball into the penalty area that actually did make the difference today before Salah stepped up. And yeah, it's far from vintage. Liverpool 4 from 4 this season, far from being at their very, very best. Is that ominous for the Premier League, or is that something Liverpool are going to have to improve on moving forward, their form to get these results? But either way, I think Liverpool will be pleased with the result. I think Burnley have got a lot to build on. Scott Parker will be immensely proud of what his team put in today. I mean, only just been beaten last minute at Manchester United, only just been beaten last minute at home to Liverpool too. You know, huge Premier League teams. Gives them a lot of belief that this year the Premier League could be the time to stay in it for them.
Yeah, there will be a lot for Scott Parker to take from this performance. Liverpool players heading across to their fans to sheepishly celebrate, I think, is the most apt description, because they know that they got a little bit lucky there with not so much the awarding of the penalty. It was a clear penalty, but it looked for all the world like they would come away from Turf Moor with just a point rather than 3. But it is victory for Liverpool. It's 4 from 4 for Arne Slot's men, and they are back on top of the Premier League. And for Burnley, their first league defeat at home in 25 matches, the first defeat for Scott Parker at Turf Moor. But it is a cruel defeat, there's no doubt about that. Full time at Turf Moor, Steve. Burnley 0, Liverpool 1.
So, Leon, Liverpool's winners in their 4 Premier League games so far this season: 88th minute, 100th minute, 83rd minute, 95th minute. At what point is this Arne time?
Probably we're already into Arne time, aren't we? You know, it's a great thing to have. There's no doubt about that. You know, the belief you've had. All the most successful teams down the years always went through a stage where going into the late stages of the game, they still believed, probably Burnley fans were still thinking that Liverpool could score. That's the kind of sort of aura that the best teams have about them. Would you want to do that every game running? I don't think you'd want to. I think the harder slot had taken if you said, you know, in 32 games, 34 games time, that they'd won every game in 80 minutes plus. But I don't think it really is sustainable. They'll want to play better. They'll want to improve. They've had a lot of changeover in players that still need to find a way. Certainly at the top end of the field, it doesn't seem as fluid as it has done in the past at this stage of the season. But they've got the points, and when you're going for Premier League titles, points are important. And you know, you can play well as the season goes along. You can't take the points back as the season goes along. So we'll be pleased with how they've started.
And also, it's the kind of game, isn't it, which sort of dispels the myth of the free hit, because Burnley will be absolutely devastated, especially to lose in that way. I mean, Hannibal just knew the second it happened.
Yeah, the look on his face, the anguish, the look on his teammates around him that dropped to their knees. They could have no complaints, but it wasn't. You know, sometimes when you make a really bad mistake and you hold your hands up, yes, it was his fault, it hit his arm, it shouldn't have been in that area, but no, it's not like he's mistimed a tackle, or, you know, it's an upsetting one, it's a frustrating one, you know. And I think the red card contributed to that. Suddenly Burnley, who had managed to defend not comfortably but well and to a man, and were filling in all the spaces, suddenly were a bit more stretched, and there was a bit more desperation in how they were getting across the pitch. And in that moment there was a desperation for him to stop the cross that hadn't necessarily been there up until the sending off. But these things sometimes go your way, they go against you as well, and it went against Burnley today. Liverpool took full advantage of it, but you know, as I said, Scott Parker will be really pleased with what he saw from his team today. They were relatively threatening going forward without really creating a big opportunity. They were defensively solid, and you know, I think that's something for them to build on.
Good stuff, you two. Thank you very much indeed. Leon Osman there inside Turf Moor with Chris Coles, where it finished Burnley 0, Liverpool 1 in the Premier League final stage.